Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Shortbox, Season 6, yeah.
Yo, Shortbox Nation. Welcome to episode 277. I am your host, Botter Milligan. For those of you tuning in for the first time ever, welcome. This is the Shortbox Podcast, Jacksonville, Florida's premier comic book and pop culture podcast. If you're new to this, consider checking out our last episode, Penance Stare, where we performed the excruciating but fun task of rewatching the 2007 Ghost Rider movie starring Nick Cage and Eva Mendes, available on Netflix. And we recorded a commentary episode. Listen to that episode on your favorite podcast app now. This episode is brought to you by Collective Con. North Florida's premier pop culture event is returning for another huge year of comics, music, entertainment, art, cosplay, and more. You'll find out more about the convention later on in this episode. If you've ever wondered how does a new person get into comics, this episode is for you. We invited a newcomer to the comic book scene, Brian Brumleaf, to talk about his journey as a new comic book reader and how he's navigating the countless options for comic book collectors. Just some background, Brian is the brother of my girlfriend who found his way into comics because of the Marvel movies, which is not surprising as they've been a great funnel for numerous emerging comic book readers. I was pleasantly surprised when I learned that he was frequenting a local comic shop on a weekly basis and he was amassing his own personal collection. Me and my co-host Drew, who you'll hear more on this episode, figured why not invite him on the show to give a fresh perspective on the comic book culture from the lens of a new fanboy. This episode originally aired as a Patreon bonus episode back in January, but it was so unique that we felt the need to make it a general release. So if you enjoy what you hear and you want more Shortbox content in the form of bonus episodes, unreleased interviews, and exclusive merch, consider becoming a Shortbox patron by supporting the show on patreon.com/theshortbox and help us keep the lights on so we can continue producing more quality shows like this one. Thanks in advance, Shortbox Nation. Let's get started for our interview. This episode starts now. He's already messed it up on the first try.
Wait, this morning?
All I did was ask him like a real question. Hey, what'd you do this morning? Fuck.
Shit, I didn't study for this part.
What's the color of those big red fire trucks?
It's okay. I was about to lie. I was just going to say I fucking ate cereal. I don't do cereal, but that's what came to my mind.
Well,
actually, you know what?
No cereal at all?
Stay as close to the mic as you can. Yeah, there you go. There we go.
Ooh.
There you go. Much better.
You guys like this?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic.
You got to work that in naturally. Now you're just trying to throw this joke in.
It's not even trying to joke. I'm just like, yo, if you guys, this is a podcast. I'm sitting next to Mr. Fantastic right now. Can you turn on my headphones? Turn them up.
Your headphones ain't loud enough?
No. I have really shitty hearing.
Well, it's all that hair that you purposely put in between your ears. Like, all right, we get it. Your hair's long. Yo, put them bitches back behind your ears.
Bro, it's a blessing and a curse.
Oh man. Yo, Short Box Nation. We've got a special episode, man. And right now, this episode is dedicated to the Short Box patrons because you guys are getting it first. I might end up using this one. I might use this one to as the first kind of teaser bonus episode.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of told 3 people I was recording a free episode.
All right, so we'll definitely put it out for general public release. Thank you, Drew.
Sorry.
I can imagine you running and telling them, I'm recording an episode that's actually going to go public. Yes.
No, because people
listen to me.
People are like, "Yo, what are you doing today?" I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "I'm so excited! I've been on this Avengers kick, and I'm going to be recording with my friends." And he's like, "Really? Where can I listen to this?" I was like, "Oh, Shortbox Podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify and all this stuff." So I signed up 3 people for the Shortbox. So.
That's right, because prior to that, you've been saying, because you've only been on the bonus episodes that you can only get on Patreon. So you told me that you were, as you've been telling people, that you do a podcast, people are trying to look for you when they come back to you yo, I had to pay. Why do I got to pay?
Sorry. Listen, you get to see me at work for free.
Yo,
you gotta pay for my time.
Pay. I like it. And that's my new excuse when people ask me, yo, where's Drew? Why did y'all use Drew? Yo, his rate is crazy. His rate is crazy. But anyways, man, I want to go ahead and say welcome to the Shortbox patrons to a special, bonus episode. And once we release it to the general public, general public, welcome to a very special episode.
Public access Hollywood.
Yeah. So if this is your first time listening as part of that new, general public group, welcome to Shortbox Podcast, Jacksonville, Florida's premier comic book and pop culture podcast. I'm your host, Botter Milligan. As you can tell, I got my man, Andrew Torres.
I'm very sorry about the free podcasting. But excited to be here.
And as you can tell, the rest of our co-hosts are not joining us this episode. They'll be back, of course, next episode. But shout out to Cesar, Ashley, and Ed. Today, me and Drew have decided to do an interview episode, which I can't recall the last time we've ever done an interview together.
No, I don't know.
I think it was just one instance, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just going to interview solo. I wonder why. Oh, well, this is a big milestone. We're starting 2020 right.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Damn, that's a good look. But anyways, me and Drew have decided to do a special interview with a good friend, close friend of the show. Mr. Brian Brumleve is here joining us.
Woo!
Yeah, woo!
Hello.
So, Brian. Well, actually, I'll let you introduce you. We'll do the,
I'm sure
the
glad you went first because I'm still going to fuck up his last name. I'm so sorry.
Wait. We'll wait for that. What I wanted to say was that the reason why we have Mr. Brian on is because...
Wait, hold on. I just realized something, too.
Right?
I'm so sorry.
I was on a roll.
Here's the thing. Yeah, I know you're on a roll. But he's Brian Brumley. Reed Richards.
Yes, Brian faintly looks like Mr. Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic.
All right, there it is. All right.
But, I mean, you have to be specific because he looks like Reed Richards.
He's like a nice little early.
No, from the way that Dave Walker or Kev Walker draws him in New Avengers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because that's when you see the beard and the angel sideburns.
Yeah, because it's definitely not going to be any of Hickman's run.
Well, actually, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think it is Hickman's run.
We're getting way too inside baseball off the rip.
Way into the boat.
Yes.
Welcome to the team.
Yes, Brian looks
But you already knew that because you look like Reed Richards.
Yes,
therefore,
Mr. Smart Guy.
You have the brain capacity.
But anyways, Brian has started... How long has it been? You started collecting comic books for the last...
Not even 6 months.
Not even 6 months.
Dang.
So he is a new reader.
Fresh to the game.
Fresh to the game, a new collector. He made the jump from,
real books and conversation.
To picture books.
He's like, I was working in orphanages, basically I was working on all types of cures. But you know what? I read my first comic book and I was like, nah.
Yeah, I'm done. But anyways, so yes, Brian took the jump from movies to checking out the source material, and now he's a regular weekly comic book picker-upper, collector, week in, week out. And I thought, man, we've had a few conversations about, my recommendations, advice, blah, blah, blah. And it's been refreshing for me because it's like, man, I forgot what it was like to, first start, collecting, to make a pull.
Issue because then you get you initial or whatever, and then sometimes you're like, yo, what's this?
Yeah.
Or what's this? Or then
Yeah, just coming into it blind.
Yo, remember how we used to just do with
talking about
pull list?
old love.
You remember what pull list a pool list was? Is that where you're at right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a pool.
Oh,
do you guys
so
not
jealous.
have pools?
I don't have a pool.
Yeah, I got a pull list.
So long
Drew's
time.
talking for himself for the record on that. But anyways, I thought, it would be awesome to get Brian on the show to talk about like that gap and just like where he's at as a new collector versus like, kind of seasoned collectors like ourselves, Drew. Like I want to know like,
what are the kids reading these days?
Yo, please help me. Like, I can't even I'm not cool.
I can't even catch up now.
So I thought not only would the conversation be good, but I think for our listeners out there, and even like folks that just listen just because they like the content, but like to give them a perspective from a new reader, a new collector, and kind of hopefully make it more welcoming and like, oh, okay, it doesn't sound too hard. Because I don't think we've ever done an episode where it's like a new comic book collector, handbook, like, hey, here's where you start, here's what you do. I think throughout the years we've given plenty of advice, but we've never like really had a full episode dedicated to like the new collector perspective.
Yeah, and totally agree. And I think here's the thing: I'm trying to listen to what you're saying,
Yeah, that was a lot.
but that was a lot. But it's really exciting to get a new perspective because I want to know like where your continuity. Like we'll get into all these questions, but like some of the top, like the key points that we want to make is just like. Where do you start? Where you're at?
Yep.
What have you heard?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who's your team? Like, I was going to try to write this question down, but one of the questions I would like to know is just that, like, since you're making the jump from movie to comic books, I guess the intro, but like, what was the moment that you were like, oh, I got to know more about this? Or like, was it a character? Was it like... Can I try to guess the movie?
Dude, you ask him, you'll let him answer one.
Okay, never mind.
But no, that's a good first question.
Two-parter.
What was the movie that kind of like motivated you to collect comic books? And while you're answering that, if you wanted to give yourself a proper introduction.
Oh yeah, for real. We should get to that part too.
Yes, because we do have a tradition on the show when we have like new guests on the show. We allow them to introduce themselves, and it usually is kicked off by these two questions. Brian, who are you, and what the hell do you do?
Who's your daddy and what's his into?
Do I talk now?
Yes.
Okay. After 8 minutes.
You must be tired.
So I'm apparently the Secret Wars version of Reed Richards.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's me.
War.
No,
yeah, he's right. This kid's good. Good.
I know my stuff. No, my name's Brian, man. I'm 32 years old. I've lived in Jacksonville my whole life. I have been a fan of comic. Have I said something wrong?
No.
Okay.
I'm getting hyped. Like I'm just like, the way you're saying, like, yo, I lived back to my whole life. I was like, hell yeah, that woke me up. I was like, dude, I got the fucking. Let's go. All right, keep going. Sorry, go ahead, you got me.
It's just like. I don't think anyone's ever given like the full bio like that, know, because it's normally like, my name's Pete, and you should know because I bring soul to like the streets or something. This is good. This is real.
Like,
we continue. We sorry.
All right, well, man, now I wish I had like some wrestling intro. Like,
no, that's cool. We can add it in After Effects and edits. Yeah, we got it.
Continue.
Okay,
Continue.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm a local guy. I've been into the video games, the comics, the movies, the cartoons, everything since I was young. And so I've never been out of it, but I'd say probably my mom was more into it than I was.
Shut up, really?
Yo, shout out to Miss Val.
Oh, Miss Val.
Yes.
Shout out.
You guys on a first name basis?
What? No, I was going to shout out to Mom. Shout out to Ma Dukes.
Shout out to life too.
Okay.
Yeah, man. That honestly, that's me. I'm a local guy, and it's funny. I got back into it in a pretty organic way. Whenever y'all guys want to talk about that. But,
so what was the movie?
It wasn't necessarily a movie. I mean, I guess you can say just like everybody after Endgame, we were all left a little, empty. Then we had the Spider-Man.
Yep.
Far From Home.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one.
And then so you just want more after that. And I didn't necessarily go looking for it, but I found it funny at Barnes and Nobles. Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
It's not Nobles. It's not Barnes and Nobles. But no, so I'm at Barnes and Noble, and I'm with a friend, and we just decided to spend some frivolous money. So she had figured out everything she wanted to buy, and I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell I want to buy. I'm looking at like tarot cards. I'm like, am I into this?
That's like it says right there. It's in the bargain bin. Like tarot cards.
You know, it was probably so cheap. It's like, I mean, why wouldn't I have
Bro,
a pair of
here's the
tarot
thing.
cards for $1?
How many times have you just basically browsed Barnes and Noble and you're just like, well, I would get that if I had the money, but my boy over here is just like, I have the money.
And I don't know what to. You know, he's a king with all the gold. You know, it's like, what do I do?
like,
But anyway,
what
so
do you
all
get the man that has
so
everything?
where do you go with this dilemma from here?
Well, okay, all right. So I'm in Barnes and Noble, and then I have the rock crystal in my hand. I'm like, maybe this is it. But then I pass by the Marvel
Everything
books
but
section.
books. Like he's got everything but books in his hands.
I was
There's
I
a
don't know.
coffee maker, a puzzle.
I was a little bit of everything, man. But like I said, I walked past the Marvel book section, and I was like, oh, you know what? This always looks cool to me, but I've never been interested in buying one.
Okay.
So I start looking through, and I'm like, if I'm gonna spend some frivolous money, like, man, these covers just look amazing. So I'm looking through the books. I find Secret Wars 2015, and I'm like,
Oh, okay.
this is what I'm gonna buy. This is what I'm gonna go with. And then my friend talked me into buying another one. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to leave with two. Because I found Wolverine versus Deadpool. And it was just, like, the art was just amazing.
Wolverine did first Deadpool. I'm trying to figure out. Now I got to look up to see who did that art.
I'm going to tell you, it's going to let you down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, why?
Well, it's...
Oh, yeah, so you know the writer. And yeah, oh.
I don't know the writer. I don't know... It
You'll
was
get there.
a
You'll
collection
get there.
Okay.
of...
different
of
stories.
books.
I got you. I
Yeah.
got what you're saying. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, I guess... to jump real quick to a different subject, that's hard for a new reader to get like that big trade back, and then it's just a collection of different stories from different years, and it's not a cohesive story. And
Yeah.
I didn't
Does
like
it explain? Like, yeah, I mean...
Well, I feel like those books are good if once you've kind of established that, I really like this character, and I just need to get as much of his best moment, so I know, I know more about
Yeah,
him.
and they do that. They do that
Yeah.
with a lot with like when the movies come out. They're like, oh, we'll either do it this versus this
Yeah.
or this versus this.
I think
So-
once you know like a character's origin, you can probably jump into those books. It's like, all right, well, I know the origin now. I just need to know what adventures has he been on.
Yeah, I could see that. And honestly, I love Wolverine. Is of course one of the top for everybody, and then Deadpool is really cool. I like him, but the story for me is actually what's kept me into it in these 6 months.
Okay.
is story and not necessarily just the expose of this character. And
I like this guy.
yeah,
I like this guy.
I'm likable.
So wait, so back at Barnes and Noble.
Back to Barnes and Noble. So I'm going up to the counter. I've got my my Secret Wars, and I've got my my Wolverine versus Deadpool. And then I get up there, and she's like, "Oh, it's buy two, you get the third for free."
Oh shit!
Well, hell yeah! So I'm gonna go back, and I got Avengers versus X-Men.
Okay.
Both Avengers versus X-Men and Secret Wars ended up being amazing to
Yeah, I
me,
was saying,
even
Avengers
though I
versus
didn't read all the source material leading up to it. And a couple people made me feel like, "What are you doing? You're dumb."
Well, all right, and this is where I need to interject because I think I faintly remember you sending me a text about Secret War. I feel like I had answered something.
I wasn't going to call you out. You were the one who said, "What are you doing?"
Was I
Ooh,
really? Wait.
maybe.
Okay, because I feel
I
like
can understand why.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
Here's the thing.
I can too.
There's
now.
a lot of reasons why he would say,
Yeah.
like, dude, like, what are you doing? In the sense of, like, how it is. As a story, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hickman is very much like you got to understand
And,
him.
you know
Yeah.
what? I think I'm getting a little bit of that mindset back. I think why I was like, holy shit, is because that's not a good basis to start with those characters, because there was different versions of these characters, and these characters were just different. They were not.
You know that scene where Doctor Strange is like going to the library and he's like picking out the books and he's like, "What book is that?" And he's like, "That's the Eye of Murder." You're like, "Yeah, what's in that one?" Like, that's what you did with Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And thinking like,
Yeah.
there should have been a guy. What's his name?
Wong.
Wong.
Yeah.
Wong should have been there and just been like, nah. There should always be a
put it
Wong
in.
in Marvel for Marvel
so,
trades.
So you guys say that, but it ended up being probably Secret Wars, and the art in Secret Wars is what propelled me into
that-
everything I'm
oh,
into.
yeah, it's not really good.
And honestly, like Reed Richards and Fantastic Four, I had zero interest in
dude,
Fantastic
both
Four.
of us.
The
Ooh,
animation
save it
in
up.
that book
I know what you're
for Reed Richards alone, I was like, wow, this
Yeah.
guy, he's got the silver going on above the ears,
That
and I was
sweet
just like,
beard too. Come
the
on,
sweet
now.
beard, and I was like, okay, maybe he's not the lame character
And
that I thought he was.
and I think the other reason why I'd be like, whoa, Secret Wars is also because it's good on its own, but to get that full like holy shit
Payoff.
payoff, well said, is that you'd have to have read Avengers and New Avengers because it is such a journey, and that is such a nice like cake topper. So I think maybe that was kind of it. And I think I might have prefaced it to or ended it with not my first recommendation, but it's so good by itself. You could probably read it and enjoy it, and I'm glad it worked.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. When that thing first came out, we were pissed about this book for the longest time,
Yeah,
and then when it finally came,
forever to come out,
Okay.
and there were certain things that weren't addressed,
Yeah.
and they came out and they were like,
Oh my God.
they were basically like, well, it's basically up to your imagination
Yeah.
how things got where it got,
Yeah.
and I remember that being such
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing?
The other issue too is that
I see what you did there.
Marvel was also promoting their next reboot or line ahead of Secret Wars being done. So they were like these first issues that were coming out with this relaunch. It was already kind of like spoiling some stuff, or it just didn't make any sense. And it's like,
took all the
Yeah.
excitement out of it.
Yes.
It took
Oh, well
like
said.
it was just like, yo, and guess what? I was like, yo,
Come
can we
on.
just
Yeah.
can we get to this part? Like, we know it's all coming. Just let us finish this, and that's
Yeah.
like a big problem.
Well
but
said. But
So-
but anyway, so of the books that you bought, you said you really enjoyed Secret Wars.
And then Avengers vs. X-Men. That was
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, that one,
and that was the full story, not the companion.
I think that's probably the full story.
That's the full story.
Okay, cool.
And I didn't really learn about companion stories until after that.
companion.
Which is
Yeah.
which is a new thing that I had to learn as I was like reading and looking for stuff. Like companions threw me off when I was buying, like, because I buy trades and stuff, and it's like, yo, is that the companion or is that the full omnibus? Like, you'll learn all this lingo, and you're probably up to it already.
I'm getting there. I am learning a lot of it.
Cool.
But I will say, so, Barnes & Noble, okay, I get those 3 books. That isn't even what done it for me, though. They gave me a free preview for Dawn of X. House of X, Powers of X.
Oh, that's right. Okay, this is the one I'm thinking of. Okay, good. Continue.
Yeah, so it's just that little thin little comic,
Damn.
And what grabbed me is Professor X is walking his ass around.
Yeah.
With a Cerebro on his head.
Okay. Yeah.
He's walking. Number 1.
Okay.
So I don't know nothing about that. Maybe y'all know something about. Y'all like, okay,
walking.
he's walked in like
Here's
6
the
of
thing,
8
I'm
of it.
feeling your excitement right now. I'm all ears. Like, listen, for all your listeners that can't see me right now, I'm smiling.
I'm new to this and it excites me. So
He has Cerebro in his head. My boy's over here walking around. Kind of weird, though. Not even like walking around. I feel like he's kind of prancing.
was in like black spandex too, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, this is just provocative. I like it. It's good on the eyes.
Yeah, it's
right.
good on
and
the
then
eyes.
you got Jean Grey in her old costumes that
Okay.
I really only remember from like trading cards.
Damn, we getting in here.
Yeah. So
We
so
got them 1995 like flares.
the flare,
huh?
yeah. Fleer Ultra, yeah.
Man, stop.
All that stuff.
I'm about to bust all 7 collections.
has
I
them
just
right
bought.
now.
Yeah.
Like I bought them in the last 2 years. That's how like hype I
Yo,
still
he's
am
got-
on it.
I kind of want to look at them when we get down. Anyways, so back to it.
House of X, Powers of X. I was
Yeah,
just
that's a good one.
it sold me on the fact that the captions are like, they're rebooting X-Men.
And you can. And let me ask you a question. Was this a trade? No, this is a preview. So you're reading this as
Yeah,
this
dude.
is coming out. You got to experience your first Marvel.
I had to wait. for
Yeah,
House of
welcome
X
to the
come
club,
out.
bro.
Yeah.
No, wait. I think he missed he started at 2 or 3, right?
No, yeah, you're right. I started at 2 or 3, and I couldn't start reading because I had to get the back
Yep,
issue.
yep,
So I got
there
like
we go.
the second printing of issue 1 and 2, and then I had to get like
In hindsight, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
no, and
Doesn't make you any less of a collector. Doesn't make you any less of a fan. I know that's what, like, let's talk about it. Second printing, collecting is okay. Like,
I feel like you're talking about ED or something.
let's talk about second printing. Most people might shame you for second printing. It's not. Like, listen, don't go in there and just like, is that a second printing? I'm like, fuck yeah, it is. I'm reading this shit.
actually talking to my local comic shop owner, he said that if you're looking at what they're going to be worth down the road, a lot of time the second and third printings are worth more than the first
because they don't
printings.
print them as much by that point. That is
Scarcity, yeah.
Man, just learn something new, man.
So he pretty much
It sounds
he
like
coached
something
me.
a second or third printing person would say. Like, that's what something they would say. Like, don't bring that bullshit with me. Like, it's going to be worth. I'm sorry.
I think he's. Yeah, you're right, man. Hey, Brian, what are you trying to do?
Yo, get this second printing out here. I'm so sorry. Like, we're so glad to have you.
But no, this is what I remember for sure, that you texted like, "Hey, I'm thinking about collecting House of X, Power of X," and I think that's the one I was like, "Yo, this is a great jumping on point. You don't need to know like shit about any of the past.
No.
Yeah, just run into it." But at the same time, I was a little hesitant because I'm like, man, Hickman writes really like. I'm not saying like no one could pick up Hickman and read it, but he is so good at telling comic book stories. Like, yeah, I was like, ooh, he's jumping into a Hickman book as his first ongoing series, and I was a little hesitant as far as like, damn, and he's got to pick it up every week, you know. And that book was what, $4 each?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, dang, he's really jumping
here's the
into
thing.
it.
But yeah, I saw at the same time, this is the only book you're picking up?
No, I picked up a couple different, but real quick, let me ask, like, what's the difference between a $4.99 and a $3.99?
You're like,
Yo, that's the same thing I'd be asking when I see the $4.99. Normally, all right, in all honesty, a $4.99 book is normally reserved for like annuals, specials, so like issue 25 or 75 or supersized ones.
Maybe ones?
sometimes the
usually
$4.99
ones,
$4.99 comes out with a digital code. So they
that's
also
right.
add digital code.
Well, I think
for
those are on the $3.99 as well.
They are.
They are, but the $4.99 sometimes it just depends on like actually what series it is.
Yeah, it's crazy because I thought I had just figured it out the other week.
Nah,
I was
look,
like,
No, but here's the thing: it's also
ones.
page count too. It's also page count, so it's whatever
true.
page count. So
So if a
I remember
normal
at some
book
point I
is-
knew the science behind it.
Oh, I do love when I get a thick boy. I'm just like, that's a nice
thick
thick
boy.
Why
boy.
do you
Is that
sound
what the
so
kids say?
disgusting?
Is that not this kind of podcast?
I feel like
No.
Tyler the Creator just came. They
Well,
want to call me the
here's
thick
thing.
boy.
Here's the thing, though. He is right in the sense of like it is confusing because even that explanation for $4.99 was kind of weak because thinking about like it's confusing because you also get hit with $5.99 books, $6.99,
$9.99 books.
Shit, yeah, exactly. So it's like, yo,
Incoming.
what is the science to that now? Freaking trying to make sense of pricing is a pain in the ass, dude. Like, because you just got too many variables, and they're not transparent with why. Is what I'm saying.
That's what I was explaining. Because my thing is, they do page count according to like, this is how many pages you'll tell in the story. Because I think it's like, I don't know the corrected, but it's like either a comic book page used to be 26 pages, and now it's went from 26 pages to 22 pages, and I think it's even gone from 22 pages to 18 pages.
I believe it.
So that's why the prices have gone up and the story's gone down. So people are like, yo, like what the fuck's going on? DC sometimes have come out and said, well, no, we've changed the paper. We've done this.
We've
this
added
is what
digital
we've done.
code. I got you.
It's like this, that, and the other. So they try to make it like this whole mathematical science bullshit of like why they're raising prices and like, this is why we're doing this. And you're like, all right, whatever. Because a lot of things is just like, the problem that I have is like, if that's what your problem is, charge less for digital.
Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox Store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show. Oh, look, you know what? Yes, you're right. We can go into a long debate about this.
But
and
we'll
I'm all for it.
That's a side conversation.
That's a side conversation.
Let's get back to it.
But back to what you were collecting. House of X, Power of X, or House of X, Power of X. What else were you putting on your whole list?
There in the beginning was Savage Avengers.
Oh my god! Sorry.
Wow, that was so much.
From what
Nah,
issue?
He just started reading it. So,
Oh,
I mean,
dude, I feel
yeah.
like I'm caught up, and I like, bro.
I like it. I love it.
bro.
Yeah, it's pretty.
You know
good.
what I think I like most about it is that it made Conan accessible to me.
Very.
And but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Man, there's nothing to do in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Did somebody say there's nothing to Duval in Jacksonville?
Danny Duval, what are you doing here?
Your ignorance summoned me. Now shut up and listen to these words. North Florida's premier anime, comic book, sci-fi, and pop culture event, Collective Con, returns for its 6th year. On March 20th through the 22nd, stars from The Mandalorian, Game of Thrones, Supernatural, The Crow, Dragon Ball Z, and even famous Pokemon card illustrator Mitsuhiro Arita is flying in from Japan to join in on the fun.
Wow! That sounds awesome!
Why are you still standing here? Go buy your tickets today at CollectiveCon.com, you lovable Nimrods!
I feel the
Being
same way.
into Conan like more recently this year, I realized Conan's always been kind of accessible. Like he's never been, at least from my
But
experience.
now he's interesting to me.
He's always been told as an anthology story. So realistically, you could pick up any of the old Conan books and it'd probably be just as good because it's a similar art style at all times.
I look forward to your
And-
report of how you're going to do it. So you're going to go back and read all these of Conan?
I mean, you did buy me that.
I'm gonna tell you,
one.
I just tried. So like,
You just tried?
I just tried.
Okay.
So I'm like, I love Savage Avengers. I'm caught
Yeah.
up with that. I got the annual everything. There's another Conan book out right now, Serpent War, and I
Okay.
think it's like a 4-issue run, and they got 3 of them out. I'm collecting that, and I dig it. I like it.
Nice.
So I'm like, okay, let me check out Conan, and I go buy. As soon as Conan returned to Marvel recently, they released Conan the Barbarian, and then so I got the first trade back for that, and I started reading it, and it reminds me of what I thought Conan was, which is
Cool.
This is
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons. That's all that shit is.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad though? I'm trying to figure out like.
Oh, yeah, the way you said
it's
it was
not.
Oh.
Okay.
It's not a bad story, but I'm telling you, like the Conan that intermixes with the Avengers
Yeah.
and Savage Avengers, and then the Conan in Serpent War, who also he mixes with like Moon Knight and then a couple of other characters that
that's cool.
peripheral characters or whatever. Like that's a really cool Conan. But the Conan just on his own, it's like I feel like this is a rehash of what I already thought he was. So it's tough to get into. I'm gonna give
That's
it.
fair.
I'm gonna give it more of a shot.
like
but
I'll give you that. Are you so?
I will say 2019 was the year of Conan. Like if a comic book character could get a year, let's be honest, I feel
yeah.
like Conan really.
Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. Okay, so Savage Avengers is on your list. Any other books?
yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, like I wrote them all down. I don't know if you
No,
want me to
keep
go
going.
down.
Yeah,
I wanna know what the
kind
pull
of give it
list
to
was,
us quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so of course I got on House of X and Powers of X, but
Yep.
then once that was done, then you had X-Men and everything that come out with Dawn of X. I got all of those. I got all 6 issues with that. I picked it up every week. So here's an issue with my
Dedication.
new hobby.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Oh yeah.
Whoa,
Welcome
bro,
to the club.
yo, welcome to the club.
Like is $50 a week?
Nah. Honestly,
Yo, but we were working at
Is
a
that
comic book
outlandish?
shop. We
Look,
were working at a comic book shop essentially for credit.
Yeah, honestly, that's how bad our habit was.
Yo,
Like
we had to work at a comic shop to
for
fix our
credit.
habit.
So I think in me and Drew's heyday, $50 a week easy, bro. Like it definitely there was a period where I would spend $50 a week, and I'll never forget like the day like our problem was kind of like spotlighted is when Walt came in. We were both like working behind the counter, and I think you asked me to pull up your pull list on the computer, or I did something like that. And I remember Walt looking at us like, "Damn, y'all collect all that?" And it wasn't like impressed, like, "Damn, y'all collect all that?" He was like, "Damn," like the way Walt be saying like, "Damn," sometimes.
Yeah.
Damn. He said, "Y'all collecting all that?" And I remember thinking, like, I just instantly heard my mom's like nagging, like, "What are you gonna do with all those books? Like, oh, why are you always collecting so many books?" And yeah, I think that's when I started to like cut back big
I'm trying to
time.
think of like my number was like 122.
A week?
Not a week, but like
God.
that was on my pool. Like I think I had 100, like just items, like for as much as
okay.
like titles and something. Because I was collecting and the only reason why I cheat with that is because I was collecting every single tie-in. So working in a
Yeah.
shop, remember we had to like do the tie-in.
Yeah, dude. I forgot about that.
That computer system.
But no. Back to your point. Yes, this hobby is very expensive, and those prices don't help, man. Like,
No, they don't.
and sometimes them titles end up especially the $3.99 ones. I notice they're bi-monthly. Bi-monthly, bi-weekly, 2 times a month, and it's like. That I see what y'all doing. You're giving me $3.99, but I'm having to buy this book twice a month. It's
Which
like,
is
yeah,
really hard.
That's a weird perspective though, because I'm like when I'm looking at the previews magazine, I'm like, oh shit, 2 X-Men come out this month. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So he looks at it like it's fun, and I'm looking at it like it's work.
Well, I mean, he's like
I'm still in the honeymoon phase. Right?
Dang, that's well said.
I'm still looking at
Yeah.
everything like I want everything, and
oh my god, I know the feeling.
But
And-
I'm at that point right
I
now
love
where
that
I'm
feeling,
realizing
though.
it's a lot of money, and I'm pulling back.
your biggest fuck up is that you're reading the previews.
Yo,
the
stay
I've stopped
away
reading
from those previews.
I remember when I
Why?
quit I was like, I felt like I just finished AA after that. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna read to this month's previews because there's so much. And you know what? It's not even the comics that get me. It's when I read the big preview and all them dope toys and figures.
Do you
like,
guys remember when like the Christmas book came out and your mom or dad, whatever? This is how it was when I grew up. And like Black Friday was coming out, we were growing up kids. Toys R Us used to send that fat stack of toys, and you and your
books.
brothers would be like circling toys of like, yo, this is what I'm gonna get. I would take those previews, and it'd just be me and my brother like, these are the comic books.
Oh, dude, come on.
Dude,
but yeah, looking through previews will definitely,
That's so fun. Honestly, it's so fun. Like,
it is.
and I'm not. I was given the big previews and the Marvel previews, I would just put it out there right now. I'm only into Marvel right now.
That's an important thing to say.
I'm not against DC, but I'm kind of just not interested in those characters right now. And there's just such a wealth of Marvel that So
actually, you
so
you got
fucking
have such a good bunch of Marvel backlog to go through.
I do, but then another part of that is like I don't care as much about the backlog. So I read the Secret Avengers 2015, and I tried to go read the New Avengers, and in like the first couple of issues, it kind of explains where the Illuminati came from, and I was like, oh, this is dope. It's piecing things together. But then it got to the point where I was like, this is just kind of like reading stuff that I don't need to. I already know where this is going. So I'm as a new reader.
You robbed yourself. Damn, I'm so sorry. I tried to warn you.
No, but check this out. As a new reader, I'm only interested in uncharted territory. I don't care about where everything has been, and when people are like, oh, you haven't read this, you haven't read that, how are you going to know about this? Like, I honestly don't care.
Yo, and that's a good perspective, because that's been my advice to like folks that are like, yo, I kind of want to get into comic books. Like, I've told them like, hey, don't try to take it all on, because there's so many years of continuity, and you'll drive yourself crazy trying to keep up or trying to like get caught up.
The worst thing that you can do is basically like
just enjoy
put down the comic book and try to Google something that doesn't make any sense, because you're like, because then you're basically taking away from what you're reading. Does that make sense?
You see, I never do that. Like, honestly.
And that's probably why you're enjoying them more, because you don't have to go there and try. You don't have to like, what does that mean? You just go, all right, cool. Like, let's go.
I don't know if it's in all comics, but Marvel does a lot of the asterisks, and then at the bottom it's like, see this issue. And
that's what that's specifically I'm talking about, because like with Marvel, that's what I would do. I would read something, come to a point at a book, and then like, wait, and then I'll try to like Google it just to make sense of that, and then I didn't even finish the comic book. I just Googled whatever the fuck just to figure out this information.
Now you got a good perspective, man. Like, just
enjoy it.
Yeah, and because that uncharted territory will become like your sense of continuity. Like, just go start from here and then onward. Because at some point, my continuity, I know where it starts and I know where it ends. Yeah. But now I'm just reading just for fun, and it's sometimes it is a little difficult to like accept this like whatever current thing when you have like this plethora of like knowledge of the past, but it don't really matter, because all the things that I read, my sense of continuity, it's not really relevant anymore.
And then correct me if I'm wrong.
I definitely will.
So all right, here it comes. I hear that DC. Word on the street.
That, they're starting a cell phone company.
DC does a much better job with a continuous story of their characters and building that story and all that. And Marvel is more rehashes the same stories over and over again. And I can't speak too much to that, but I do know recently I read Silver Surfer Black, and in that he met Ego, and it seemed like it was the first time that he had met him. But then I'm on Disney Plus, and I checked out the Silver Surfer cartoon.
That's a good episode too.
But Ego's in that, like, in Silver Surfer's origin story, not when he's in the cosmic good turning black thing. So I'm like, okay, is this a rehash of the story? Did I understand it?
But and here's where you run into like limited series, because that's limited series, and sometimes limited series, the writers just have a lot of creative control where they kind of play around with like origins and whatnot and timelines and stuff. Okay. So I don't know if you would count Silver Surfer Black as part of like the main continuity. And that's what I'm saying is you would drive yourself crazy trying to keep up with like main continuity, especially if like you're trying to have like this elaborate from front to end timeline in mind, because of Marvel rehash or restarts and reboots like so much. It's like, and then the continuity falls through the cracks, and it's like, you don't want to get tied up in like fact checking. Like you should be enjoying your comic books.
Yeah, okay.
Because I mean, how many times have you been on a Reddit page or a Reddit comment thread or just the internet period, and people are pissed about this current reboot because they never addressed like the whole like Donna Troy comes to mind. Like she's got a super confusing.
Oh yeah,
she's,
that's actually one of the perfect.
That's a good examples
that you've ever used. Yeah,
because
this entire time, this is the only example you've.
And I mean, you hear the same regurgitated kind of bitching every relaunch. It's like, well, you guys didn't address this. You guys didn't address this. I'm not going to read this because you guys completely changed the character. And at some point, it's like, well, are you just reading just a bitch,
or shut the fuck up?
Yeah, just like enjoy it. So, anyways, don't get too tied up into continuity. And so just sometimes, dude, when you read a book after being in the game so long, you kind of can discern like, this ain't really main continuity. This is this is like a side story.
Yeah, I think it's
I don't know about y'all. Like I really enjoy the 5-issue series. Like it's like this is one of 5.
Oh yeah,
I'm buying into that
dude,
because it's
those are
digestible.
great. Yes,
like when it's like this is one of we don't even know when we're going to stop.
Oh, I like the fact that have you ever?
Matter of fact, the way comic books are written now, like you can. Matter of fact, I don't know too many comics that have gone past like it's usually like after issue 10 they'll restart at number 1. But I mean, even like these long continuity ones, not a long continuity, but these longer release ones, you're starting to see them do like the story A. Well, no, story A starts from issue 1 to 5.
Oh yeah,
6 through 10 is another kind of story. They're writing.
They do a good job on the cover. You're talking about like when they break it down, like, hey, this is new. Don't be too worried about it.
Well, it feels like writers are now writing in trade paperback form with trade paperbacks in mind. Like, okay, 6 through 9 will be a story arc, and that can be collected into a trade, or it's editorial telling them like, hey, write like this so we can sell trade paperbacks.
That makes sense.
Because I mean, if you think about like if you were trying to read Amazing Spider-Man from number 1 on through, it'd be kind of tough to like pick how to make a trade. But I feel like now writers are writing it to where it's easier to like identify. Oh, that's worthy of a trade. That's worthy of an omnibus. It's clean cuts,
Yeah, because they just focus on story arcs.
Yeah.
Okay.
What other titles did you have, or do you currently have right now? Because I wanna start talking about like how you found your comic shop, but I want to hear about the rest of your items.
Okay. Well, so I wrote down a couple that I finished, which was King Thor. Which
I cannot wait to nerd out about it at the second half.
I fucking love
Please
that.
don't do it.
And then I just finished the 2099 release. It was a bunch of one shots, and they had the Alpha and Omega and whatever. That's all new to me. And then Annihilation Scourge, and then
which I don't know nothing about, but I'm excited about.
Oh, Brian will tell you that.
I will tell you, man, because it ties in with Silver Surfer Black, and both of those tie in with the new Thor. So when you had mentioned that maybe these one shots don't always fit into the larger continuity, like maybe Silver Surfer Black does because
yeah, okay, you're right. But, especially with spawning its own,
anyways,
having impact for that. I do
want to bring up one that I feel like might be like low key a little bit, but the new Agents of Atlas. Not the old school Agents of Atlas with like a gorilla and stuff, but from War of the Realms new Agents of Atlas. I had no interest in it. I had no recollection of it. I didn't even know what it was, but I saw that the number 1 was out. I was like, oh, number 1, let me collect the number 1 and see where it goes. But that, and then Greg Pak, right, the writer, he is like he has like this pantheon of Asian superheroes. And they're all new, and it's including like this
Amadeus Cho,
yeah. So Small Hulk guy. When I saw him on the cover, I was like, "Who's this Small Hulk guy?" Like, I don't know if I'm interested in this. I don't really even care about it.
Dude, it doesn't even register to me that Greg Pak is Asian.
Huh? Damn.
Dude, you just blew my fucking mind because I've never met Greg Pak. I just didn't.
Wait. So are you sure Greg Pak is Asian then?
Is he?
No, he was talking about the
He's got
the
an
pantheon.
Asian
He's got a bunch of like superheroes.
Let's look at Greg Pak real quick.
All right, go ahead.
I keep going to Aiden.
I feel like he could be, but anyways. So no, but all right. So there's a couple other titles, Arrow and Swordmaster, and these are 2 new Marvel characters that they're drawn by local animators in like China. So but they're introduced into the Marvel world, and they were in War of the Realms, just like little bit parts. Well, now Arrow and Swordmaster have their own books. And
damn, that's cool.
Like Swordmaster is with Shang-Chi, and I had a little bit of interest in Shang-Chi because I know that they're making the movie. I wanted to kind of figure out who he was. But then, like beyond that, they have Wave, a Filipino superhero.
I've noticed that trend, and I think Marvel's been doing it a little more than DC, but both of them are doing like, hey, we're introducing our first Asian superhero, our first whatever Muslim superhero, our first transgender hero. I think that was I think maybe either DC or Marvel. One of them's doing like
Giant
that.
Man is gay.
Okay.
I think. And I don't know if that's like a first or whatever, but
No, trust me. That's why I didn't even flinch. I was like, all right, yeah.
Cool.
But that's kind of cool to hear that you're collecting one of these, like one of these new character books. I don't know the last time I collected like the series for a new character. Drew, when's the last time you collected the series for any new character?
American Vampire.
No, I'm
Travis
talking
the Kid. Are you talking about Marvel?
Yeah, like Marvel or something.
For a new character? Pretty much anything was like, we're going to get into is Beta Ray Bill. But as far as new characters,
Yes, new character.
Nova.
No, you're talking. I guess. Okay, all right. That's
well,
fair.
that was I just answered the question.
I was talking like
or Hercules, probably Hercules. Is
Okay.
that what you're talking about?
fair. I was thinking more like Storm. Anyways, no, but you got to go.
Oh, you're talking about like way off the cuff, like way off the cuff.
Like Nova's to me still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, that's cool that it like grabbed your attention.
it did because, like I said, that's the uncharted territory.
The fact that you read Ages of Atlas, I'm so
I know,
jealous
dude, I'm
because
like,
that is
damn,
the
that's a
one
deep
book
cut.
I've always wanted to read and I've never read. I see it all the time. I know nothing about Agents of Atlas.
like the old, because there's an old Agents of Atlas.
Yes.
Is that what you're interested in?
That's the one.
Both,
That's the
both.
one I was reading whenever it was like Planet Hulk or yeah, and there was like a Agents of Atlas versus X-Men series too. That was pretty good.
Well, so I'll say that the Agents of Atlas, that's one that I was into. It finished. It had 5 issues, and then they had a bunch of offshoots like Arrow and Swordmaster. But then they also had like White Fox, Crescent, and EO, and then Luna Snow as one shots. And it's just introducing you to these new characters. And now that Agents of Atlas is over, Atlantis Attacks is coming out, I think, next month. And so that has Submariner or Namor or whatever.
Yep.
And so he's another one. Like as a new reader, I want to learn more about these characters that are coming. Shang-Chi, Submariner. Like I want to know more about them. So like honestly, like I'm super hyped about Atlantis Attacks coming out.
So let me recall something that you just said though. You said that you're not really interested in doing all like the catch up, but does that apply to some of these legacy characters like Namor and Shang-Chi? Like, are you gonna like you're interested in them, but at the same time, do you not want to do the homework? Or are you just interested from this point forward?
I'm definitely interested in new story, of course, because I have some kind of bias against super old animation and then outdated storytelling strategies.
And some of those books can be like, any of those older comics can be dated. Like you could definitely tell. Like, yeah, okay, this was written during a certain point.
Yeah, if I read
Especially
any
heavy
comic,
exposition.
Anything George Perez does, look at the hair, and you'll be able to tell what time period you're in.
But no, that's a good point. Okay.
yeah, no, it's just tough to look at the old animation for me, and maybe one day I'll be able to go back and appreciate that on a different level. But right now, there's so much out there that's new and that's pushing forward, and that's maybe one day the MCU will be pulling from this stuff. And I really read House of X, Powers of X, having in mind that this is where MCU is going to be pulling their X-Men inspiration.
Which is safe to say because that's like it be one of the things where they can definitely set that up in the MCU. Like so, like to make that something, because it's Hickman and they're like I wouldn't be surprised if Disney when they go and they introduce Fantastic Four and they do like a bunch of this stuff that they won't be like, all right, we got to do what this guy did because this guy knows how to basically tie worlds together and world build.
Dude, it's interesting that he just said something I was talking to you, Drew, about as far as the MCU movies. When he said that there's a possibility that one day MCU will pull from these stories, like these current ones he's reading.
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you, like, I feel like
they're making
we will always be, our continuity will always be relevant because that's where MCU is pulling from right now. Like the shit that we read. The day that they decide to like switch gears and start pulling from these stories that we haven't read, that's current right now, I think that's when our continuity is just phased out.
And then the tables will turn.
Yeah, I think that'll really energize, and I think sort of like how like all these MCU films, like I feel like our knowledge of comic books is a little more strengthened because those are our stories. Like, we read the source material.
Nice.
But I think the tables will turn to these current readers the day that MCU starts pulling from that because you guys are now growing up with it or reading it as it comes and like living in the moment.
I'll die with knowing I did it first. So you know what? You're welcome.
Yeah. But
I'm not looking forward to like watching a movie and then saying, "Oh, they did it wrong. They did. I can't believe they did this instead of doing that."
Oh my god!
You either live long, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself a villain. Oh my god!
You gotta change it. Like you die a fan, or you live yourself long enough to be a hater.
Yeah, that's
to
good.
be bitter.
Die a fan. I like
All
that.
of Star Wars base right now.
Die a hater. Wait, no, die a fan or live a hater. There you go. Yeah. I like that. So how about we take a step back, because all of the books that you're pulling have really kind of piqued my interest, because it's a good assortment.
Not for that, though. It's all fucking Marvel.
Yeah, all right. Aside from the
But
fact
you're
that
actually picking up some cool stuff, and like
you're not collecting
you're
just
making
the
really
standard.
good rebuttals, because a lot of the stuff I'm like, all right, Agent of Atlas. Like so far, you've done one thing. Like I was like, damn, Age of Atlas is something I've always wanted. And you just picked it up because it's one issue of 5. Mm-hmm. And was it easy to follow? Was it just cool?
It was easy to follow, but at the same time, I was a little bit thrown off at first because there's like a little bit of a romantic thing in there, and I was like, I'm not trying to read like some teenage drama,
Yo, welcome to comic books, buddy.
Oh, bro, here's the thing: when you like at some point you'll read Teen Titans, and like it's a little bit of like a love drama.
I don't know.
I will see.
All right, but
I don't know.
But I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask more so like the comic shop. How did you go about choosing? Because you're at Gotham City Limits. Shout outs to Ben. You're at Gotham City Limits. How did you go
Which
about?
is a great place to go to.
Yeah. How did you go about any of the comic shops in town? It's fucking great. How did you arrive there?
You have just gotten me in trouble. You have just.
Oh my god!
ruined
Do I
my
need to
cover.
edit something out?
No. But shout out Ben at Gotham City is great. I love it. I'm not going to change. But also huge shout out to Chip at Borderlands.
Okay, well, yeah. Chip.
When I got back into it, I was actually going to Borderlands to ask Chip to get me the House of X, Power of X.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just a couple, one or two back issues that he couldn't get for me. And I tried to look online. I tried to look a couple of places, and then I just ended up Gotham City. I called him, and he had it. So I went over there, and
Fuck
then
yes.
That's
like
cool.
inside,
That's
it's
a
like
good story.
it's like a freaking club,
Yeah.
and the guy's so cool. Ben is
Yeah.
so awesome. So I'm, he can get everything I want. He gave me the pool, so I started going to Ben.
Ben's like the opposite of like your first timers. Like when you go to comic shops, like back
At least
in the
when
day,
we went, yeah.
Yo, when we went, it was very scary and just like you weren't like,
Not welcoming
Ben,
at all.
yo, when you go in, Ben, like just like the way he has it set up is just freaking amazing. By the way,
Yeah.
and he's just so welcoming and everything's cool. And he's like, yeah, come in, like hang out, like what's up,
It's
man?
fun. It's fun.
So
But I will say that, I got to give all the shout outs to Chip because, I grew up and right down the street was Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
And I collected Pokemon cards. I collected early like Dragon Ball comics and I went there all the time. So then when I was like, I'm getting back into comics, I wanted to support my local comic shop, and that was Chip. And then when I couldn't get a couple of the issues, I moved on to Ben. I feel terrible. But
no, that's just the way it
nah,
goes,
bro,
man.
you gotta go where the source is, bro.
Especially so young, just go where you gotta go.
so young, so malleable.
Like deep cut. I remember when like I don't know if maybe we can edit this out. Like remember Botter when you decided to change barbers? Like when you went from like one barber to the other. Do you
I thought
ever
this was
feel
gonna
like
be.
that? I'm sorry, comic book related.
No,
Yo, we
no.
jumped a lot of comic book shops. I've been to.
Oh my god, you're right.
I've been to every single comic book shop.
No, I've definitely been to a few. You're right.
Yeah, so
you are right. But you know what, man?
I feel bad for
that. I mean, that's kind of like what we had to do. Like we weren't really staying home watching video. I mean, Netflix wasn't nearly as robust or whatnot. So I mean, that was
Internet
like the
wasn't
shit.
a thing.
No, that internet was definitely a thing. But that was like the shit that we like found fun. Like me and Drew would just drive to every single comic shop, spend like 2 hours, 3 hours just like loitering, like straight up just loitering. Sometimes.
Talking
Do you know how
about
many times that
comic
like because the shop here on Riverside used to be Universe of Superheroes, and that's where me and Drew like ended up fulfilling a fucking dream goal of working at a comic shop. Yeah, man. Yeah.
It was
But anyways,
hell yeah.
there was like seriously weeks where we'd go to the shop every single day and just spend like 2 hours. Sometimes just going through the same boxes of comics that we've already been through so many times, but it was like fun. Like, yo, that's what there was to do. But Gotham City Limits is the jam. Ben is a good dude, and that sounds like a really good comic experience, man. Like,
it was. I've got no complaints, and big shout out to Ben because I mean, like it's a great experience every time I go in. He's like, "What's up, man? How's it going? I'm having a great day, living the life." It's kind of the same thing every time, and I just love that. I love that. I want to give this guy my money.
Yeah. Comic shops now, man. It's just like if you're a smart comic shop owner, you're going to make it welcoming to like even the most like
And you'll
knuckleheaded
just
questions.
get paid
you
to
know?
read it.
Yeah.
Like at some point, like I feel like it's okay.
It's probably one of the best experiences of being a new reader is going through the comic shop, and then the way that Ben has his shop set up, he just has all of them laying back down face up, so you get to look at all of the covers, and I'm just like, everything looks so cool, so I'm picking up a couple that I didn't plan on buying when I came in, and I'm like, you know what, this is the number one, I'll hop see what it's got.
That table layout he's got, like there's something intimate about it.
It's like browsing the red district. You're like, what do I want? What do I see I like? Ooh, Frank Quietly
You are
cover. Like, let me
disgusting.
grab
Yeah,
that.
you're net. That's
Bro,
really funny.
I'm sorry.
That's
I thought we were going to the same comic book shop. Like, you said you had a pleasant experience. I'm over here just trying to figure out.
You tell me. So how about this? So you got a favorite shop? Are you in there like every? Are you in there every Wednesday?
Are you loitering every 2 hours?
No, I mean I'm saying like, are you going in there every Wednesday religiously on New Comic Book Day, or has that kind of teetered off?
No, I still am, and I'm kind of trying to figure out whether or not can I skip a day, or will I lose access to those issues? Do I have to like email them, get them put into my pool, or what?
Trust me, there's like, I think the.
Have you been part of Shop Talk? I'm sorry.
And I feel like the courtesy, real quick, is like at least by a month you need to pick out your books. I
Yes,
feel like
that's a
I feel
month.
like
Like,
that's a
you
good
have a
courtesy.
month. 30 days. 30
Yeah,
days.
Like 30 days ahead of time, like I want to collect this.
Wait, to add to pull or pick up your pull list? Is that what you're asking?
Ooh, I pick it up every week.
Yo,
so
I'm saying adding pool to me, like I do the day of sometimes. Like that depends on
Oh,
how
yeah,
cool
yeah,
you are.
absolutely.
But like sometimes, like maybe like and depending on the previews and stuff. I mean, some things like now it's easy to.
Well, I thought it was easy as just like, hey man, I want to add this one, and he'd walk out
No,
there,
it really
grab
is.
one, and he'd put it in.
Not always. I feel like most shop owners, from my experience, if issue one, let's just say Spider-Man number 1's coming out, they'll order and they only have, let's just say 400 pull customers that want that book, which would be kind of crazy, but they might order 50 more just for instances like that where it's like
traffic.
Not only traffic, but someone coming off the street like, yo, I heard about Spider-Man number 1, but also more than likely just the way a comic shop works, and especially if like you're there hearing stuff, one of the pull customers that didn't order Spider-Man might come in one day, hear all the news, or if he's on whatever social media or going on comic book websites, it just kind of gets around, man. Like, do you know how many times I've gone into a shop and been like, hey, yo, Ben, can you get me like number 1? I heard this book's hot. Like for some reason, like Drew, how many times has it done?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I'm like, yo, have you been part of a comic shop yet? Like, have you walked in on a Wednesday and picked up your books?
And like talked with some of the other folks in there? And
Yeah, I've had a couple of really good experiences at the comic shop. Just browsing, and then you see somebody who's kind of similar to you, and
Another newbie.
well, not necessarily a newbie. I mean, you've got a whole bunch of demographic of comic readers. And then
You talking about guys with beards?
I have a beard,
That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's
I have
different.
gray hair. but it grows in so many levels.
some of my favorite like comic shop talk is usually like when you're just kind of like, you walked in and there's someone already in there, he's chatting it up with Ben or whoever it may be, and you're kind of perusing, but they're saying all the right things and all the titles, and like you can kind of like just chime in from the other side of the room, like, hey, yeah, that was a good scene, right? What about like the big reveal? Oh man, like I like those organic, like you just kind of like, it's like double Dutch, like, all right, and oh yeah, I like that book too, like that artist.
that happened to me, and shout out to the guy I met.
Shout out to Double Dutch.
I don't remember your name, but like that was cool. He suggested that I get a Punisher Soviet, and I didn't get it, and now I'm kind of regretting it because it looks cool, But we just had exchange like, oh man, I'm into number 1s, I'm into this, and he told me what he's into, and Ben's chiming in and saying, oh, you guys should get that, and it's just like it's a whole thing. Everybody's into it,
and I hope that you get to the same level that me and Drew were able to enjoy, where me and Drew have made like some really solid friends.
Walt.
Walt being the best example. Like Walt is. So we're going down this weekend to go see Walt, and we've known him for years, and it's all because like just shop talk, dude.
Yeah,
like
Tim.
he came in and it was just like Tim too. That's a good example. But like there's something about like also meeting a fellow collector who's collecting maybe the same books as you, has the same like kind of ideas. It's like, oh damn, like all right, word, yo, you got good taste. It's something like sharing that taste that you deem good. It's subjective, but when you're like, oh, you read that too, and you like it as much, you got good taste. Like there's something about, all right, now you just laid the bridge, and whatever may come of this friendship, like it just kind of goes.
Yeah, I will say I went to the comic swap that you threw month or two ago, and it was interesting to talk to all the different comic book shop owners, and a couple of people gave me like some free stuff, I guess, because they saw me, new guy, like let's entice him.
And you know what? Okay, this kind of leads me to a good question, because you mentioned that your pull for the most part is pretty much Marvel, but at the comic swap in a hip hop food drive event that we threw in November, John Bates was there. Shout out to John Bates. Shout out to Altered Egos. He was there. And I purposely introduced you to him because, I mean, Drew, you can back me up. John just has a way with recommending comic books. And, I mean, he definitely recommends, like, Marvel, DC.
Sorry,
but
like, I respect so much what you're saying right now. That's why I'm not chiming in.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
like, the first time you're like, yo, chime in.
No, I'm saying, like...
John is the most
he does not care.
Intellectual. Like, he is informative. He is, like... When you talk to him, like, that's, like, you're like, this
But,
guy,
like he doesn't care what if it's a Marvel, DC, Image, whatever. He's just going to recommend you a good-ass story. It just so happens a majority of his recommendations, based on my experience, are usually always really cool indie stuff. So when I introduced you to him, he gave you Claws. And even I was like, oh, wow, that's like a hell of a curveball. But, I mean, he spoke it up really highly. And I was curious to see how that would resonate with you, because I knew that at that time and moment you were a Marvel head. So, I mean, what did Claws do for you?
So that was really cool, and shout out to him. Thank you, I appreciate that, because it immediately made me think, what else besides Marvel is out there? And I was super into the idea that, oh man, there might be more to Santa Claus than give him a sword and holy shit, he's like making people bleed. I love this. So I actually, after he gave me that, I went on to Amazon and bought the origin story. So that's like Boom Comics, I think is Claus.
Yeah, so even extra like indie.
Yeah, and which has also made me, when I'm going on like previews.com and I'm like looking for the stuff coming out, I'll kind of check on Boom too, like, because I want to just see is there a franchise out there that maybe I'd be interested in. Like recently I saw Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. They got comics out. It looks cool. I'm not trying to get into it right now, but it looks cool.
And check this out. So that publishing company is IDW, and they're known for having a lot of like cartoon TV toy properties. So like TMNT, Power Rangers, I think they have Transformers and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm the same boat. I'm like, I don't feel like reading a Power Ranger comic, like, or a TMNT comic. But I'm going to tell you like this. When I say those books are wildly popular. Like, matter of fact, I was in the shop last week and I picked up issue 1 as a Patreon gift for a new patron. Shout outs to Errol White. I picked it up for him because, like, oh, his son's getting into comic books. I'll get him like something that's kind of like cool to read, but also like kid friendly. So I picked this book up, and Ben's like, man, let me tell you right now, I have more people on a pull, subscribed on a pull list for TMNT and Power Rangers and just Power Rangers in general than I have. And he named some like big superheroes.
Like
I might,
Batman,
he was like
Superman.
more than people subscribe to Batman
Power
and
Rangers
Spider-Man.
is doing some exciting stuff.
And I'm not
it's
gonna
like, if you read that storyline, like I'm telling you right now, I got up to the point where they got to that big war and they've like splintered off and did a bunch of stuff. Dude, I'm like Loki. Like I was reading Power Rangers. And I was
too ashamed to tell me.
I wasn't
Yeah,
ashamed.
okay.
I was just getting hyped. I was just having hype like by myself. I was like telling Zachary, I was like, yo, you need to read these.
Man, but
Power Rangers is good, and Ninja Turtles is actually really good too.
I think that's a part of the what makes it so cool to me is there's depth to all these stories that you grew up with. I might have watched the cartoon of this and that, but if there's depth to it, if somebody died to make somebody else feel a certain way, like that's just really cool. So, I'm not really trying to read the TMNT or the Power Rangers books right now, but just to look at the covers and see the grittiness, and then to know that in there is more of a story than just what I saw on the cartoons. Hopefully there's
that's a really good perspective.
Damn.
So, but I mean, it sounds like Claus has really like kind of.
I'm looking at Claus right now, and I'm like, dude, I forgot all about that book.
It was really awesome. So I actually didn't even read the issue that he gave me until I got the origin story, and then I was like, okay, well, the origin story is amazing. And then there was a couple of other offshoots that I had to get before I got to that comic. So that was the last one that I read out of everything. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's great, and that's
Grant Morrison,
Jim Mora,
Grant Morrison,
Grant Morrison, and Dan. Dan Moore?
I don't remember the name of the artist. Can you look up that
For
name?
Claus?
Yeah.
For Claus, yeah, it's Dan Moira.
Okay, Dan Moira.
Mora, or I don't know.
Which, when he gave that to me, he was like, "Man, this is like one of the best writers in the game, one of the best, and one of the best artists in the game." Dan Morrison.
Huh?
Morrison, I think.
Yeah,
Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison. Wait until you get into his X-Men stuff.
You're probably too used to just seeing the last name. But yeah, it's Grant Morrison.
It's tough for me as a new reader. Like, you mentioned it, Butter. You mentioned to me when I first started. You were like, "Oh, you're gonna start to know about the writers and you're gonna start to know about the artists." And it's tough for me because I'm just now getting.
That leads me directly into my next question. I wanted to ask, what are some of your? Have you been able to identify or start picking like your favorite artists or writer? Like, do any names stick out to you?
Or your
now?
style of just like, yo, this is the story you need to tell me.
Yes and no, but at the same time, I feel like I'm like looking at the Billboard charts and I'm like, have you guys heard of Ariana Grande?
Like, there's still comic book writers and artists like that. We're like, who?
Dude, there's comic book writers that like I will confuse. I remember, I'll never forget the day where like we confused Frank Cho and Jimmy Chung.
And that was just racist, if I'm being honest. That was more about being racist than like,
because he's like, I've never met them before, but like I've seen just like quick, and like we went up to there, and then but Frank Cho was like really funny about it. Like he was like, oh,
that's the other Asian.
That's the other guy, and I was like, all right, well, and he was just a good sport about it. But
so, I mean, but what are some of the names? I mean,
I got a couple, and I had to write them down because, like I said, I'm aware of them, but I'm not like. I don't know too much about him, but so for the favorite writers,
you don't
of course,
know stats yet.
I'm gonna put Jonathan Hickman down because House of X, Powers of X was amazing, and now even in Dawn of X, he's the writer for I think 2 or 3 of the issues in that, and the ones that he writes in, you can definitely tell the difference on. So I really do appreciate that. And then the other one I wrote down was Donny Cates. He's I think taken over like the mantle from Jason Aaron for Thor and probably a hell of a lot of other things. I'm seeing his name on more and more things. Which
you're definitely in the middle of like this Donny Cates
revolution.
Well, I guess just like fucking stardom right now because what man was it God Country? Yeah, it was God Country that got me into Donny Cates. And then from there, I don't know, something about that book. I was like, yo, he writes really dope. And now to see his name pop up all over, the Jason Aaron comment you made is pretty accurate because he's writing those type of books, like that kind of manly, like still with a heart type books.
Yeah, and the idea that I get from all of them is Hickman is the guy who's going to write that slow burn, that thing that by issue 4 you're starting to realize what issue 1 meant.
Yeah.
But then Donny Cates, really right now, he encapsulates Marvel in the MCU, I think, perfectly. Like he's got the humor, he's got the action, he's got he doesn't need like these text bubbles that take up the entire page, and you're getting more story than you would.
Damn, that's well said.
So I really appreciate those two guys, and then I wrote down Greg Pak as well because I'm digging the Agents of Atlas. I'm digging where all of that's going and heading into Atlantis Attacks.
Hey, look, and here's the thing: Greg Pak is like. I respect the shit out of Greg Pak. Like,
no, yeah, you basically talked about his incredible Hercules run.
And then back to Arrow and Swordmaster, he's actually a co-writer on some of those. Like I said, he allows the local artists from the area where it's coming from. And in Arrow's case, I believe it might be Korea. I might be wrong. It's either China or Korea, and then Swordmaster is the other one. But they're really leaning on local artists, and that's another cool thing about a new reader that I'm looking at, and I'm like, okay, they're sourcing original and local artists for their stuff,
which is such a like.
Black Panther does this as well. For I think the run of Black Panther right now, I believe the artist is an African artist,
and which is dope, especially when you consider like how important that is to in this day and age of social media and like companies having to be responsible or like. Conscious of like their image and what they do as far as representation for all of us really to see that happening with like, Marvel choosing, all right, well, an African artist on Black Panther, Asian artist on Sword and Arrow, like that. Yeah. They're very well aware. And I don't know if Disney has a lot to do with that or if it's just like a sign of the times that Marvel has been keeping up. That's pretty interesting though.
I want to say it's a sign of the times. I think that they really caught on to something that's going to be a lot bigger 10 to 20 years down the road that we don't even really see.
I'm going to say you have a good range of writers because it's like Greg Pak kind of, you can almost say represents like the vanguard before this current, like 2 vanguards before this current run.
Yeah, very true.
And then Jonathan Hickman, I think for me and you, is maybe you, and a lot of people's others' favorite contemporary writer. And then Donny Cates kind of represents like this new breed, like this new kind of blood. And in my opinion.
That's beautifully well done. I have no problems at all with what you just said.
So what about like, do you have any favorite artists right now?
Yes and no. So I actually had to look up the artists. I didn't really know them by name. I put down Trad Moore because he's the artist for Silver Surfer Black. And when I told you that I was into Silver Surfer Black, he was like, "Oh, that's Trad Moore," and he's amazing.
That dude is amazing.
So yeah, I wrote him down just thinking that maybe he's better than what I know him for. But the Silver Surfer Black was just, it's trippy, it's psychedelic, it's deep. I love it. So I did put him down. The other name I put down, and maybe you guys know this name more than I do, Joshua Cassara.
What is he?
He may or may not be anybody, but right now he's he does X-Force out of the new Dawn of X.
Oh, I don't know if I'm familiar with him, but okay.
Out of all the 6 Dawn of X titles, X-Force has this really unique art style, and it's tough, man. I don't know if you guys have read it and know like what Krakoa is and all of that, but it's like the island is alive. And
I've definitely read House of X, Power of X. I haven't started. I don't really gotten into Dawn of X yet, but I know the basic premise. But you're saying the art is really, out of the 6 Dawn of X titles, probably the most interesting one for you.
It is. It really is.
Okay.
I think they all are interesting in their own ways. Fallen Angels also has a very unique art style, but the X-Force one is it's beautiful on a different level. Like I can stop and look at those panels for a second.
Okay, no, those are some good names.
I'm trying to look up the artist and trying to see these panels. I can't find them right now.
That's all good. Don't worry about it. Did you have anyone else on that list of artists?
No, that's all I had.
Those are good ones, man. Drew, what do you think about his list in total, like from writers and artists?
I'm definitely impressed. Like you picked a lot of like all the good ones. I'm like, yeah, you definitely like. It's like coming into the game. Like I picked somebody that was like old, new. Like you got something old, you got something new, you got something borrowed. Like it's. Donny Cates is definitely like really cool because he's writing a bunch of stuff. And like, have you even touched any of his Guardians of the Galaxy stuff?
I read Guardians of the Galaxy after I got into Cosmic Ghost Rider. I had to figure out where the hell he came from.
Oh, okay.
So I read Guardians of the Galaxy, I think 1 through 4, which that actually led into Silver Surfer Black.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking.
It wasn't the greatest tie-in. There's like barely a panel where they go into like this black hole, and then like that's where Silver Surfer Black comes from. But in Guardians of the Galaxy, like if you look over that panel, you're gonna miss everything.
Damn.
Yeah.
What about like because right now, what other forms have you ventured into as far as like comic book reading? Because I mean, you're of course collecting the physical books, but have you ventured into any other formats or venue or channels or vehicles as far as like reading wise?
Yeah, definitely. So right now I am getting comics on a weekly basis, and I'm looking at my collection and I'm trying to get trade backs for things that I'm overly interested in.
Okay.
Like I feel like the trade. What is it? Trade back? Is it trade paperback?
Yeah, trade paperbacks or just trades.
Just trades. Okay, so trades is what I'm going to put on my shelf, but the comics they just go in the box. Like so, I can't compromise that right now as a collector. But then I also have Marvel Unlimited, the app for like $9.99 a month.
Triple dipping over here,
dude. I mean, he's like Marveled out, bro. Also, so some advice I think, and Drew, if you want to throw in some, feel free to.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, dude, you're good.
Oh, I can't hear.
It might just be the headphones. Don't worry about it. But what was I going to say? Oh, when it comes to trade waiting, a lot of times that is, one, in my opinion, more convenient because it allows you to like, okay, well, if I'm trade waiting this and I don't need to, that's one less book I need to read at the moment and I can catch up on some of the other weekly titles.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it ends up being cheaper too.
I can see that. I'm already noticing that. And so I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what don't I need to collect on a weekly basis and what can I wait for the trade for? But then again, like half of everything about it is getting it as soon as it comes out. Like a new story is available. Like I don't want to wait a month. I don't want to wait 6 months for that trade to come out. Screw that, man.
Me and Drew just don't care anymore. So it's okay.
It was funny because I was trying to talk to Botter about this earlier. Like I just want to be like, yeah, man. Like what if you had time to be consistent on one book right now? And I think I asked you about this. Like I said, if you had to be consistent on one Marvel book and read it weekly by weekly, like what would you choose? And like my answer now is because I'm on such this Avengers kick that I'm like, fuck. I really wish. Like now I'm playing catch up with Avengers, and that's one of the books that I want to like stay with.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, trades can sometimes be cheaper. My opinion on the Marvel Unlimited app is just to buy the annual, or really like any of whether it's the annual or the plus.
Buy the annual, or you mean read the annual?
No, I'm saying for Marvel Unlimited, just pay for the annual cost because I think it's just cheaper in the end.
Gotcha.
And more than likely, I don't see you canceling that subscription within a year.
Not really, and it's $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
What is it a year?
I want to say it's $72 a year, and then if you want to get like the cool toy and like the exclusive stuff, it's like $100. I'm gonna put you onto some game real quick.
Yeah.
What I do is I end up buying the annual plus, so it's $100 a year. Marvel Unlimited, and you normally get this really cool kind of box, and every year it's a different theme. This year it was X-Men because of House of X, or last year it was X-Men, sorry, because of the House of X, Power of X. And you always get 3 variant comic books. You always get 1 exclusive Marvel Legends figure. You get a button and a pin. Button and a patch, I'm sorry. So what I do is I'll pay the $100. I get the package. I normally only keep the pen and the patch. I don't really care for the variant comic books, and usually not really for the Marvel Legends toy. And I just put it on eBay, and I normally get like 86. So it's been kind of like average about $80. So I mean, and once I sell it, it's kind of like, all right, well, I just paid for Marvel Unlimited for $20 for the year. That's my like ultimate like game to all you like short boxes. I try to tell everyone I can. And usually they sell on eBay because there's some countries that can't get those Marvel Unlimited things. I find myself shipping it a lot of times out of the U.S. And I think that's my theory, is that Marvel Unlimited is just a Marvel Unlimited Annual Plus is just a U.S. thing, and other countries don't get the special. I'm not sure. I've just noticed from my sales.
It sounds like a great idea, but it also sounds like a lot of work to list it. And I would love if I could just like I can order that, and then you can put a quantity of 2 on your listing.
No, that's fair. That's fair. No, okay, that's pretty cool. And what are your thoughts on reading digital versus physical? Because that's always something me and Drew talk about. I think, at least I'm safe to say, where I'm at in my collecting and reading is I'd rather have it digital because it's just way more convenient. But there are some comic books that you like. The Silver Surfer Black trade paperback that you brought is great physical.
This is a must-have.
Yeah, like
it's huge. It doesn't even fit on the shelf with my other ones, and I'm a little upset.
It's cool that it's oversized, so you see more of the art, because that tells me there's an emphasis on the art and like the paneling and stuff like that. So for you, I mean, what's your different? Like, do you have a preference, or like what's some of the differences you've noticed when you read digital versus physical?
Well, digital, as far as I'm starting to learn, is now like a panel by panel, right? You're swiping.
Yeah, when you do the guided view.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of that. When I read it digital, I still do look at the full page. For a while there, I was doing the panel by panel, and I'm like,
I feel like it's slower.
2019, y'all.
Yeah.
But I got over that real quick. Maybe I'm old, right? I'm 32, so I don't know. I may speak for new readers, but I may not speak for young readers.
Okay.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy the physical copy, but that's also the same way with books. If it's just a regular book, I want to have it in my hand. I want to flip the pages.
That's exactly how I feel.
And with digital, it's different. It's not bad, but what I'm using Marvel Unlimited for right now is to kind of anytime that
homework,
if I'm in a book and it references something else, maybe I can go to Marvel Unlimited and see that.
Dang, that's cool.
Or maybe I'm like, I was really into
the database. He's going through the Marvel database.
Right, the Pokédex.
Marvel database. Yeah, Pokédex. Holy fuck.
So Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider was coming out. I think number 1 just came out. Number 2 is coming out soon. And I was like, okay, it's a number 1. Number 1s excite me. So I'm like, let me look into it a little bit. And then so I went on to Marvel Unlimited, and they had the original run of the Cosmic Ghost Rider, which I don't know if you guys are too familiar with it, but it's Frank Castle as Ghost Rider.
No. That was definitely one of the first.
That was in the Thanos run.
Yeah, that was the first, I think, Donny Cates Marvel stuff I read, and I was like, oh damn, this is I'm sold on Cosmic Ghost Rider.
I was in love with it. It kind of reminded me of like Deadpool in this guy's body,
100%,
but there's nothing wrong with that, and I loved it. So I used Marvel Unlimited to look at that, and then I was like, all right, I love this, so I'm going to go ahead and buy the trade on Amazon.
That's smart.
So then I got that and read the rest of them. So like, if I can find a 1 of 5 on Marvel Unlimited, I'm reading the first one to see that I like it. I did this with War of Realms, Agents of Atlas. I read the first issue on Marvel Unlimited, and they hadn't even released the second and third issues because it's a week by week basis as well. And then so I went and ordered it the trade on Amazon and read the rest of it. And so that's how I think I'm using Marvel Unlimited right now.
No, dude, I think you were doing it perfectly.
That's smart.
It's much more.
You know what I used to do? I used to went to Wizard, and like there was a magazine, and it would give you a preview of a comic book that was coming out like 6 months, and then you're like, ooh, I want that. That's how I did it.
But no, like you're using it perfectly, because it is much more of a pain in the ass to try to go hunt down an old issue or an old series, especially like old modern series, like stuff from like the 2010s. For some reason, those are hard as hell to find. Like for me. Like, you would think it's pretty easy to find them in a $1 bin or a $2 bin, but I just feel like they're, for me, hard to find at conventions. And imagine trying to do that with, like, books from the 80s and 90s. Like, even tougher. So using Marvel Unlimited as a reference system is like genius. Like, you're saving yourself so much time and effort, and you're probably going to be able to get caught up on a lot of stories and a lot of history much quicker than maybe me and Drew like had to experience.
Well, remember I told you like it's tough for me to go back and read some of the older stuff. So when I'm reading House of X, Powers of X, Dawn of X, everybody's like, "Oh man, you should go out and check out like the last huge event." Was it House of M? Was that the last huge event for X-Men?
Oh wow!
Or has there been some in between?
No, there've been a couple of them for X-Men.
But I guess maybe. I can see what
because there was Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah. I mean, he's right. But I think maybe House of M was just like another big X-Men kind of thing.
Yeah, so everybody's like, you have to read that. You have to read that. So I go into Unlimited and I check it out, and that's a lot of shit to read.
Really?
Like,
wow, that's not even that old. Like, House of M is like what, 2006?
You talking about the 8-issue miniseries?
Well, so there's the thing. Like, I can buy just the trade of House of M and then have issues 1 through 7, and then issues whatever. But then there's like so many tie-ins.
Oh my god!
And as of right now, I'm really into all the tie-ins. Like I said, with Dawn of X, I'm reading all 6 issues. Even though I don't really care too much for like New Mutants, I'm still reading it.
So, and I think this is where me and Drew could definitely talk about it, because I think during our tenure of like actively collecting comic books every week, I feel like we definitely experienced like the main event. You know what I'm saying? Like the big events. When we started collecting comic books, that's when I feel like Marvel was doing like every summer big event, tie-ins. So my advice is that I feel like now you could probably just get the main series. Let's say it's just like War of Realms. Like, you just get the main series and not really mess with the tie-ins. But I think when me and Drew were collecting books and like House of M was coming out, Civil War, like you almost had to buy the tie-ins. Because they would reference some things that happened in the main
I feel like
arc.
it was more manageable back in the day.
There was not nearly as many.
Back in the day, the tie-ins would just basically touch a couple books, maybe spawn like 2 or 3. But now it's like this.
It's almost like they relaunched it, dude.
Yeah, War of Realms launched like how many different miniseries?
Yeah, well, so War of Realms is one that I bought. I bought the trade, and then I bought the prelude to the trade as well. So I was really into that, and then I bought the Agents of Atlas. But to me, it seems like there's maybe like 6 or so main tie-ins, and then a handful of other ones where it's like for 3 to 4 issues.
So I guess my recommendation would be, especially for like those earlier big events like House of M, try to just read the main story and. I guess hope that they make reference. If they make a reference, that they also have the little box that says, "Yo, check out this tie-in."
Yeah.
And this is where finding the writer that you like really goes in, because sometimes the writer gets a 3-issue miniseries, and you're like, "Yo, I'll hop on that because that dude's doing it, and that's who I want to follow."
I can see that. And but again, man, it just bears repeating. Like even House of M, I kind of know what happened at the end of it. There's no reason for me to read it.
Damn.
And that's how I feel. And honestly, there are some books that I read just because I like the writer. There are going to be some books I read just because I like the artist. But more than anything, like if it's been done, if it's been done, like I'm on to the next one. Like I'm the frontier comic book reader.
So how about we tackle this question? We'll go on break. We'll play some music, and then we'll come back and do our champion season. But I want to know from you, Brian, and then I also want to hear from Drew. Advice for new readers, for new collectors. And I'm really curious about yours because, like you said, it's been less than 6 months. But I feel like you are so far in the right, like, this mindset, and, like, you're doing the right things. I know this is, like, real minuscule to be saying, like, yo, you're doing the right things. But, like, as a collector, like, you're approaching this pretty smart. So what would be some of the advice that you share for folks listening that are like, okay, like, I think I will try to start collecting comic books on a weekly basis. I think I'm going to go set up a pull list. Like, what's some advice that you'd share with the listener?
You need a job. you need to be able to. You got to know what you're getting into. I guess
you need income.
Yeah, you need income. You need disposable income. But probably maybe some of the most important stuff that I could say is buy what looks cool to you. I will also say that, like, number ones, it's just there are number ones left and right now. I thought I was coming into the game and I'd be on like issues 100 and this and that. And there's number ones all the time, but like hop on a number one because most of the time the stories are contained in like a 5-issue limited series. It's a contained story and you don't necessarily need to know everything that happened before that. So if you see an issue 1 that you like, hop on the issue 1. The next thing that I would say is that if you like the art, buy it. If it looks cool, buy it. And then when it comes to covers, you got the number 1 issue right in front of you, but then you got like these 4 variants. Buy the one that looks cool to you, because that's the only reason that you're buying these, is because it's cool to you.
Damn.
Like, so don't go try to listen to somebody else who's like, you need to go read House of M before you read this, or you need to do this, because then you're going to overwhelm yourself and you're not going to get into it. Start small, buy what looks cool, let it be cool, and then explore everything else that might be cool.
Well, that's a wrap.
tied to that.
Yeah.
I'll head out.
No, that was damn it. There was something that you said that like
You want me to follow
really
that?
resonated. No, I can't even think about it right now. Wait,
Buy what looks cool?
No, it was something about buy what looks cool.
Get a job.
Get a job was definitely one I agree on, but if it comes to me, it'll come to me. But that was really good, dude.
I don't even know what you want to say.
Yeah, well, no, this is what I want to say. Thank you so much. Actually, it's the buy what's cool and like the whole variant thing. I think it drew what might have like really impacted us and the way like kind of skewed our opinion about what books we picked up is because me and you were also not only just collecting and reading, but me and you were also flipping books. Like I think when we were collecting is when the variant craze like really had like a hold on the market. So like I feel like a lot of it was definitely like you had to. Me and you probably approached it more so from like a reseller perspective too. Like there's no way for us to escape like the financial aspect. Like okay, I got to pick up this first printing. I got to pick up this issue 1 the day of because it'll be on eBay for like $20. Or I got to sit on this variant because it's only one of 100 and I know it'll be worth this much. Like. At least, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm thinking like the way Sebastian used to think about it. How you were
like, here's the thing. You're bringing me back to like a whole nostalgia.
That's what, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
yeah, damn.
But I mean, like the thought of like me and you got suckered into the variant thing so much. Like think about how much money we blew on variants.
Oh yeah, because that was the first. Yeah, because the one in 75s, 1 in 50s.
Yeah,
and it was the. Like to me, that was the first time, and it was like the first time they were doing sketch variants and blank variants.
Yeah,
damn.
And I'm not saying that, variants weren't there before us, but I'm just saying there's something special around the time we were collecting comic books and whatever, 08, 9, 10, 11, whatever it may be, that variants, there was just something about it, man. That kind of drove, I think, the way a lot of people were collecting comics at the time.
Yeah,
like,
very true, because they tried to yeah, very much so. Because the one that comes to mind was that super expensive Justice League America one. That was the Ed Benz one, where it was supposed to be a 3 cover, but then somehow they did that variant where it was 1 cover. Yeah. When that book first came out, it was like a 1 in 100. So like, and that was another thing too. It's like this is only 1 out of 100. So
I'm glad they don't do that now.
Well, they still do it.
Well, here's what they definitely still do it. But what I like about now is that they offer like multiple variants like for the same price, and it's not like a special thing. Like when we were collecting, it was like, yo, either you got issue 1 or you picked up the variant because the second printing wasn't going to be here for a hot minute. Like it would not be there for a hot minute, dude. Yeah. Now you go into the shop, it's like, damn, I get to choose between 5 different covers.
Well, then again, like let me jump in and say, like, how much credit to that is to like Ben, because Ben has the main issue and then all 5 variants that come with it.
Point.
But then other comic shops I've been to just has the one main one. So
damn, okay,
Ben's really good at basically and that's the thing. Ben,
awesome.
Ben has the product and he pushes it really good.
That's to his credit. He's smart in the way he sets his store up.
No, those are solid piece of advice. Drew, what about you, man? What would you tell a new collector or someone interested in getting their feet wet into comic book buying and stuff?
Oh man, it's like 33-year-old me is basically just telling you like, yo, just like have fun and enjoy it. Like if you're gonna pick something, like the way that I would tell you to do it is like, yo, go to the flea market, go anywhere, like look through a bin. If you see a cool thing, pick it up and read it, and just start your adventure there. Like read something that's just like not unknown to you and see like if it catches your eye. Like comic book will take like a good comic book take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then from there, you'll get so much entertainment. It'll just be cool to see like how things go.
Yeah.
Also go to Chamberlain's, and then us actually really worried about reading stuff like that. I'll tell you, like I'm telling people now, just get a library card. Go to the library. Go to the library. Like downtown library has like the most like the hugest like comic book collection I've ever seen.
I did not know that.
Yeah, dude. If you go to the library, that's one thing I was going to tell you, bro. Like next time you're like, yo, I kind of want to read something, and you just want to read something off the rip or cuff and browse. Go to the library downtown. They have a whole dope section, and they have actually these like secret like pull over like shelves. Like when you go in, the shelves like have one book each, and it looks kind of small. But then when you pull up, they're all stacked sideways. So you're
Damn,
talking
that's
about
cool.
like I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
200 trades.
Yeah.
So you go in there and they're basically collecting things as a saga. Like, yo, this is that saga, this is that saga.
cool.
And all that, but the digital aspect too, because I think you get access to like the library's lending system. So it's like Hoopla and what's the other one? Libby. So you could check out and rent digital versions of the books via like this app.
That's cool.
It's pretty legit, man. Like, and I want to add to Drew's point. Go ahead, Drew. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to talk about, like, here's the thing. I like one of the things that me and you were talking on this conversation. I was like, Butter, like, we're at a day and age now where I can go to the library and get any book I want, comic book wise.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be able to do that. When I would go get trade paperbacks, it'd be like few and far between, and DC wasn't printing out these trade games like they were.
Well said. And if they were, it would take. It felt like months, man.
Months to get it, and then I would forget things that come out, and then like I don't know, from like an expensive aspect, Marvel does a job of releasing the same trade 7 different ways and putting a different price point on each one. So depending on which one you're coming on, that's how you're going to do it.
Yeah. I think I want to piggyback off of your advice in the sense of get secondhand books if you can.
Oh yeah,
Like
reader's
instead of-
copy.
Yeah, instead of buying like new ones, even though there's plenty of options like Amazon, InStockTrades.com,
Stay away from eBay.
CheapGraphicNovels.com, but like there's so many avenues to buy half off trades. But if you can if you want something old, like to Drew's point, the library, Chamlin's, like secondhand stores, just stock up on trades, man. I've definitely noticed to Dee's point that because so many trades are getting printed now much faster than I've ever imagined. Like, it's so much easier to go get those books secondhand. Now, mind you, I mean, if you have a chance to support your comic shops, then do so. But there's a lot of options. What I'm trying to get at.
Tell you how to run your business.
Yeah. I think I would also chime in with advice of, and this took me a while to like kind of really hone in on, and I think Drew might have mentioned it, but don't be loyal to like one company. And I know that's funny coming like from, Botter, the Marvel guy, but don't be loyal to one company. Be loyal to like the artists and writers. So the creators who are actually making these stories pleasurable for you. It's like Marvel's not writing the stories. They happen to hire, a really great writer and a great artist. So those are the elements you should focus on. And of course, characters too. You get there's no way that you don't get attached to a certain character, but be loyal to the writers and artists that like really kind of resonate with you and follow their path, because they're not always going to be on the big two. They're not always going to write like a character that you recognize or anything about. Sometimes it'll be a creator-owned thing and you're like, yo, what the fuck is this? But you know what? You got to believe in the writer that managed...
Believe in the craft.
Yeah, believe in the craft, because they managed to convince you with, this superhero. Well, like give their work, their vision a shot.
That is such a sophisticated take, though. It's such an advanced comic book fan take to have, though. I mean, that's kind of like how I am with music artists. If I like the artist, I'll give their album a listen to and all that. But that is, as far as comic book goes, like to read things just by the artist. That's a very sophisticated take. Nice. And I guess one last thing that I can think of for like new readers, there's so much out there. Yeah. There is so much out there, and you could really decide, do I want to read everything that's going on now and be ready for everything coming out, or do I want to go fill in on everything that's happened up until now? And it's really two different worlds. I do not think you can do both. If you can do both,
damn,
Godspeed.
Damn, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Two different worlds right now.
You cannot, because your brain won't allow it. Your brain won't allow
you
trying
would
to
be
enjoy
tripping,
something.
yeah.
You can, but
yourself.
you also you have to like eat and sleep and stuff.
Well, to
all about that.
Well, to that point, and speaking about our man John Bates, I think he gave like the best advice when it comes to new readers, and I'm sure it was John Bates, but something to the effect of, think of like your favorite movie, think about your favorite movie or book and the genre, kind of like break it down. What do I like about this movie? It's a detective, story. Okay, well, try to find a detective themed kind of comic book. Try to like break down things you already like in certain elements and see if you could find that in comic books. Because I guess his whole point was, and I fully agree, there's a comic book for everyone because they write comic books about everything. Comic books are not a genre per se. They're a medium and they're a format that happen to have a ton of genres. It just so happens comic books get associated with superheroes because they're the most popular, form or genre of comic books. So there is a comic book out there for you. I guarantee you. Will you like it? I don't know. But if you read enough, I guarantee you'll find one that you really, really enjoy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think right now, reading a lot of the newer ones that's coming out, I might throw a couple of things at you. I don't know what you... Have you ever heard of Morbius?
Yeah.
I picked up the first 2 issues, and I'm like, you know what? It's actually pretty damn interesting. Have you ever heard of Ravencroft? Ruins of Ravencroft? It's coming after the Absolute Carnage series.
Ravencroft is the name of the jail that they house the Marvel villains, right?
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like Marvel's Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, okay,
maybe.
okay. Yeah, Raven. Yep.
But
Damn,
so
Thank you for saving us, Butter. Like, I'm standing there on the sidelines, pass the ball to me, and then like Butter's like steal and like dunks it. Good job.
I mean, Ruins of Ravencroft is coming out right now, and they just had the first one.
Like,
Man.
you come and bringing that bullshit. Ask me about a Ravencroft.
So how about this? Let's go and let's take a break. Let's give our listeners a break. We'll play some music by our man Alan Fresh, aka KLA, and then we'll be back. We'll probably continue the conversation, or we'll jump straight into champion season. But regardless, enjoy the music, and we'll be right back.
Ain't got no love, but
Stay Fly.
Stay fly.
You got the R&B version.
Yeah, I have to do like every version. What's the Bob Dylan version? Ain't got no class, but I stay flying. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that's funny as shit. Hold up. Wait. Do I got this thing on?
Yo, it's such a fucking good song. Yo, this is like, 2020, 2020.
It's our turn, baby.
Wait, all right. You said what if the Pope was playing the song and getting ready?
What if the Pope was playing this, getting ready? He's like, yo, I gotta do the sermon today. He's like, ain't got no job, but I stay fly. I need an operatic version of this. Like,
man, I had to
2020,
get that.
I need like just, Big Timers sells their entire thing to like an opera orchestra. You don't think people want to get dressed up and go to an opera that they link in some
I
banging
think
drums?
your question should have been directly aimed at me. You wouldn't. Yes,
Sorry.
I would definitely go.
You
get
would
dr-
get like,
Yo, I get a little
why
monocle.
is this
a monocle.
not a thing? Like, why can't we call it Dirty South monocles?
Ooh, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that's
pretty
All right,
fly.
we giving away all the sauce. Short box.
All the sauce.
Nation, welcome back. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the song and our little tirade.
I don't know what y'all did on the music break, but
Yeah.
I did some stuff when I went to the bathroom. I peed.
Yeah, and poured up another one. So,
I'm not gonna lie, we poured up
so
a
check
bunch
this
of
out.
whiskey.
This is normally the last segment of the show, of course, and we normally jump right into champion season. But Drew had a really good question
it's
for
not
Brian.
Champion season. This is Avengers season.
No, well,
I'm just saying.
hold on, wait. Well, I
That's how
wanted to
feel
say off mic while we were on break, Drew, you asked Brian a really good question, and
Oh,
I
I
thought
did.
it'd be pretty good to record it. Your question was
about that. That was so in
regarding
the moment. I know. That was like one of those like in-depth
Well,
moments. You
well,
want me to
here,
want me to
well,
share on the show an intimate moment that I had
It
with
was-
Brian?
it was
I'll do it
not
right now
intimate.
for you right now.
It was like a question
Hold on
that you
a second.
forgot
Let me
to
get it
ask.
Warmed up real quick. Yeah, it's just like more or less like. So you're reading these comic books, and like I've been in the game like a minute. But like, are you reading these stories just like out of curiosity for fun? Like, are you like reading this book and like kind of reading into characters deep? I know I asked like a whole bunch of questions, but like,
yeah. Well, I guess you're trying to figure out like
why are you reading? Like, why are you
what's got you like? What is it about comic books and the books you've read that has like really resonated with you? Is it the story? Is it something else?
I dig hype, right? So I'm looking for hype in anything that I'm into, whether that's comic books or a movie or whatever. Like if I can get hype about it, then I want it. So that's what's driving me right now. I got hype about fucking Professor X is walking and he's got Cerebro in his head and shit. Like I got hype that there was new stories for X-Men. I got hype
the fact that that's his first comic book, X-Men. Or back in the game is an X-Men comic book, which is not hard, which is like for a lot of people. It is.
It's more so the timing.
And you jumped on a perfect time.
I know, like it couldn't be more.
So.
Like you walk into the thing and they puts the poster. Like if this was a fucking movie, it'd be like the guy puts like you'd be old timing, like having an ice cream cone walking by with your red cap backwards, obviously, and then some dude just basically puts a sign for X-Men. You walk in, you're like, "Hey, Mister, what's that?" Basically, and he's like, "Oh, this."
I mean, like literally, House of X, Power of X, like. I think some of the marketing and some of the things I read was like, a Q&A or a FAQ of like how to read House of X, Power of X. And one of them was like, do I need to read anything else? It's like, no, this is the perfect jumping on point for blah, blah, blah. And like you see those marketing and you're like, all right, yeah, we get it, man. You guys are relaunching. But yo, man, there's nothing to do in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Did somebody say there's nothing to Duval in Jacksonville?
Danny Duval! What are you doing here?
Your ignorance summoned me. Now shut up and listen to these words. North Florida's premier anime, comic book, sci-fi, and pop culture event, Collective Con, returns for its 6th year. On March 20th through the 22nd, stars from The Mandalorian, Game of Thrones, Supernatural, The Crow, Dragon Ball Z, and even famous Pokemon card illustrator Mitsuhiro Arita is flying in from Japan to join in on the fun.
Wow! That sounds awesome!
Why are you still standing here? Go buy your tickets today at CollectiveCon.com, you lovable Nimrods!
It's not for us. It's like for people like Brian who are jumping in and they need a perfect jumping on point. Like you need a sign that says, yo, right here, jump right here.
I can't believe
right here.
Yeah, because me and Butter have turned into those two grumpy old men from Muppets where we're just like, is that here number? And then like off camera, it's like, yo, you fuck with that shit, right? And he's like, hell yeah. I was like, all right, cool. We'll talk about it on the Patreon.
So it's hype for you. So it's like these big kind of moments and like blow your mind moments.
All right. So if I ask you right now, because you told us in the beginning that it was Wolverine and Deadpool. Those are your first books, right? X-Men, I know for a fact they're just basically exploring. Right now, X-Men, what character like did you go, I fuck with you, like right off the rip?
Oh shit, I've
And
got
it can't
so
be
much.
Wolverine.
Yeah, I've got so much like history with X-Men. You mean like in the new books?
And this new book right now, because I know right now they're on issue 4, so they haven't really.
They're on issue 5 of all the Dawn of X stuff.
Okay.
And so I mean, you've got the X-Men, you've got Marauders, Excalibur.
Yeah, so
New
character-wise,
Mutants.
so you have a character. So I'm talking about character-wise right off the bat, because like Botter could tell you right now, his favorite character, looking around the room, is Colossus.
Yeah. So
That's his X-Men.
Yeah, who's become like some of your favorite characters from the X-Men books?
Well, so that's tough, but I will say that even with House of X, Powers of X,
There's no wrong answer.
he's never been
friend.
my favorite, but Professor X was the one who brought me.
Okay,
into this.
well there you go.
He's
Which
really
is,
cool.
Like his,
And then
which is
Mag-
poetic. It's poetic because
Yeah.
like, yo, who's the first people we meet in X-Men?
Yeah, true.
It is.
Professor X and
Professor
Magneto.
X.
Like,
You're right.
yo,
And Magneto was the next guy I was going to say because, like, on the cover, he's draped in like all silver. He's like in a chrome suit, and I was like, God damn, that's tight. So,
like-
Professor X, Magneto,
Yo,
Wolverine, of course.
flossing harder than anybody.
Yeah, no, Magneto. Yeah.
Wolverine got them that metal, like that floss inside.
Well, I feel like I'm very familiar with Wolverine. I didn't have to read all of these comics all these years to know who Wolverine is. I've watched the '92 cartoons. I've seen the everybody
Wolverine-
knows who Wolverine is. But these new comics, this Dawn of
you're
X,
reading a different Wolverine.
it is a different Wolverine, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's like it's that same old badass Wolverine, but with like a nice soft side to him.
Yes.
Family man Wolverine, but he'll still cut your head off. Like, I dig that. And then Gambit.
I love kittens, but I'll
Gambit
fuck
is
you
that
up.
guy, right? Gambit's
Oh,
always been
dude,
my guy.
I haven't even seen him show up yet. Like, what is he doing?
Well, so I'll say it really
Who's he
pissed me
with?
off
Give
when
me
I
the
was reading
latest.
Avengers vs. X-Men.
Ooh.
It really pissed me off when I saw Gambit in there because like whoever the hell Captain America, like Gambit's like sneaking up behind Captain America and Captain America just like face shoved him off of the screen.
Oh, that was like Avengers vs. X-Men, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's when
and
they break
I
down.
felt like they disrespected him so much. But then he's
Tell
in
me.
Excalibur. Like
Oh,
him,
yeah, that's right.
him and Rogue and Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Excalibur
I don't
has
even
it.
know who's writing that. I don't know who's writing that or drawing that. Welcome to my age.
I can't say either.
So
Like
at
I've
the
read it a
cave.
million times and I can't tell you either. But
No, that's some good lineup.
it's
Gambit is
amazing.
like it's like an easy he's like the coolest. He's
Bro,
just
he had a
Yo,
jacket
I
and
know.
jacket and gloves and a staff
Some
and
fingerless gloves,
purple
that.
and blue.
Yeah,
like,
he's
listen, we're
he
not
is
gonna-
hype. Yeah, like I see your point about like you like hype. Gambit is 1,000%
What's his
hype.
costume look like
But he's
now?
not hyped at all in Excalibur. Like
laid back.
he's playing a role, and he's playing a good role. But he's not hype in Excalibur. Honestly, Rogue is what's hype in Excalibur. If you're a fan of Rogue at all, like she doesn't have much dialogue in the first 4 issues, but just like what happens to her, it's amazing, and it's really aesthetic on the eye, like all the little
I'm really
flowers
excited
and shit growing
about
out of her.
suggesting a book to you because you're saying all the right things.
What
And
book would you suggest?
Avengers No Surrender. Only because Rogue is the leader of the Avengers in that team.
And you know what?
Since you like Rogue, I respect reading this book because we were going to talk about Avengers. I've been trying to get B to read this No Surrender Avengers for a hot minute. Trying. There's
How
sometimes
old
where
is that, though? I don't know anything about that. How is that?
This came right before. This is literally the tail end right before Hickman stuff.
And that Hickman stuff is a new Avengers, right?
No. Of like X-Men stuff. Sorry. All this stuff takes place like it introduces Conan the Barbarian. This is how we get Conan the Barbarian
Into
like
the
the storyline.
main- yeah, storyline.
Into the main
Okay.
storyline. So like are you reading Immortal Hulk by any chance?
I'm not. Botter recommended that to me, but it's so deep in that I haven't decided to
Yeah.
take that
when
on
you,
yet.
When you attack that beast, No Surrender is dope because that starts
Yeah, those are some good
that
ones.
starts the Hulk journey.
But see, I'll go back to like that's. I'm just not really. Even if it hasn't come out in the MCU yet, I'm not really interested in what's led up till now because there's so much ahead in the Marvel stories. There's
Well,
just-
and you know what? Eventually, I mean, I don't know what your trajectory will be like as a reader, but if it falls in line with like where I'm at personally,
Because you're 6 months in.
yeah, like at some point you're going to get burnt out with playing catch up, or and I don't know where Marvel's going to go, but my journey was that like when I was collecting comic books on a current weekly basis and I was current, at some point like you just get burnt out with all the relaunches and rebrands, and maybe Marvel's going to be better about it going forward because we lived through it and we complained about it so much, but at some point I just got burnt out trying to like keep up. The prices were going
Look,
up.
people out here be protesting in the streets.
Yeah.
I be protesting at comic books. I was like, I'm not paying that.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
not collecting this book. This is where I make my stats.
well, honestly, if I
so-
look at some of these older issues, I'm like, I would never read this crap. Like this looks like crap. Like honestly, if it came out in between, like
yeah, chill.
Whoa.
Talking about
check it out. I'm talking about like 2000 to 2010. If I go in and just try to
yeah, no, those are the years, man.
Hey,
Hey,
hear me out. Hear me out. If I just
Okay,
go try to find a random story in 2010, if I'm just looking for a random story, it's kind of crappy because what's coming out now
throw
is
that
like
drink in his face.
I was like, bro, I know you remember the Captain America Winter Soldier movie.
Yeah, he ain't read it.
movie-
He wasn't outside, Drew. He wasn't outside when that comic book
You
came
didn't like
out.
Captain America Winter Soldier?
I loved Captain America. I loved all MCU movies. I don't have to go read the comic books because I
Sure,
got
sure.
that
And that's
story
fair.
in a different medium, and
That's
I
fair.
don't want to go back and read the comic book, which is
But
like.
here's the
ah,
thing. That's what's so beautiful about it because you had. All right, so let me learn
Go
you
ahead,
something,
Drew.
young man. Let me
Pull
show
that
you.
chair up.
This year, I don't know what the year it is that this came out, but we'll say it's in that time era, 2008.
2009.
In comic books,
2007.
like, and this is like this is great because like people that say that they lived through Star Wars, I'll never be like, oh, I saw Star Wars. I get to say that I like was part of this whole world when this is coming out. Like, this was like the blogs. We were getting into it.
Shit, it made it like national news.
Well,
that,
it's
you
not even
know,
national that they killed Captain America. It's the fact
Okay.
in the comic book shops when they
Oh,
brought
got it,
back
got it,
Bucky.
got it.
When they brought back
Yeah.
Bucky, yo, people in the shops lost their
Yo,
fucking
'cause-
shit.
I can see that, but that's because it's current and it's happening and everybody's learning it together.
Yes,
If I
yes.
gotta go back and look at
Sure,
that, and then I'm
sure.
like,
It
you know
won't have
what?
the same
but
impact,
I kind of
all right.
already knew that, and it won't.
because he's already used to Bucky. Like it don't have that same impact.
That's what lost the effect for me for Star Wars. Like I love Star Wars so much, but the fact that I grew up always knowing that like Luke, I'm always your father. When I really watched it and that reveal happened, I was like, oh yeah, I knew that the whole time because it's
Yeah.
always been a common thing in like a spoiler alert in my
Right.
fucking head.
That's a good point.
But it's just craftsmanship in the sense of like even writing wise, it's like it is beautifully well done. Like Ed Bruderbaker teamed up with Steve Epting is so fucking fantastic and sexy that it's a good integral. It's a great Marvel piece in history.
Yeah.
An integral like where a lot of people will read. Somebody's gonna read down the road and gonna read Ed Bruderbaker's shit, and basically they're gonna write their Captain America.
Yeah.
According to the way that this like the way he wrote it, like really nitty gritty, and he pushed the forefront. The reason why we're getting a Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier show or any type of idea is because Ed Bruderbaker laid the foundation of basically like, all right, let's make Captain Rogers this, and like, let's see where we go.
I dig that. I do dig that, and I know that that's why we are here now is because of those guys that got us here. But it's also kind of like, let's say video games. You're a Mega Man fan, like Mega Man 3. Oh my God, that was such a good video game. But where is Mega Man now? And if you go back and play Mega Man 3, how much do you play? How far do you get into it before you're like, I ain't with this shit? Right? So
after like the one full death cycle where you're like, oh, restart all the way to the beginning. No, I'm good.
Like, I know there's speedrunners out there. We're all a fucking speedrunner when we go back and play NES games. And you're playing Mario, you're holding Y the whole time, right? And if you fall down the hole, turn the game off. You already know where it's going, right? But that's how it is with comics and me too. It's just, the older comics is just like, yeah, there's definitely something there, and you guys experienced it, and whatever you're experiencing now, whatever you experienced then is what I'm experiencing now with new stuff. And if you guys are not on the new stuff, you're not experiencing that. And if you're living in the glory days, make
actually call this old.
Oh my God!
I feel like I'm older than both of y'all.
But check it out. But in all honesty,
my leg hurts.
My dad was definitely saying that about me and how I viewed. Well, I mean, granted, I was actually pretty good at like reading old stuff. But like I had the same opinion too, where I was like, well, I don't really feel like having to go back and read all this old stuff when I'm living in the moment and they're doing all this cool stuff, Planet Hulk, Bucky and all this. And I'm sure for him it was the same kind of like, whoa, what the hell are you talking about? Like, 80s, 90s, like all day. So it's just funny to like be in this moment and hearing this. But I felt like I had a question.
Every time they restart this fucking universe, we'll have a new... Okay.
That's what it was. I'm saying that at some point, and I don't know if it will happen because Marvel might switch the whole game up, is that for me, and I think Drew for you too, is that we just got burnt out from like all the relaunches, the new number ones, like restarting and like retelling the same stories, and it's like, I just wanted you to continue this story or not renumber it.
Yeah, anytime they came out with a sequel to something, like Civil War 2, that's when I was like, I'm done.
Especially like now,
done.
like you're mentioning all these stories like Atlantis Attacks or Annihilation, and then like Civil War 2.
Annihilation Scourge actually sounds kind of interesting.
It does. But for me, it's like, you guys are like, I don't know if you guys are just paying homage or you're being lazy, because I'm like,
maybe it's something new.
It instantly makes me think of like like Civil War 2. I was like, well, why would you call that? Why would you use that name when the original was so iconic? Annihilation Scourge. It's like, you guys already did a series called Annihilate. It reminds me of like that fucking Nas verse against Jay. Like, KRS-One called his album Blueprint first. And it's like, but Marvel's doing it to themselves. It's like, you already released something called that. Like, why are you and sometimes it's not even like, Civil War 2 was a good example. But it was like Secret Wars and Secret War. Even though I loved both of those, it's still like, why would you use this name? And the only difference is the S. It's like, you guys are confusing people,
Because then you get into a whole...
But I say all of that long-winded shit to say...
Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that's normally when you start thinking like, all right, Marvel, at some point you're like, Marvel DC is just going to kind of be cyclical because they need to worry about new readers, new money.
Talking about Marvel right now. You don't need to be DC in it.
But at some point you're like, okay, at least for me, it's like, all right, let me see what Image is doing, because they don't care about continuity. They're just going to tell you a good story, and there's a good hopping off point, and you could just kind of bounce around.
Well, I feel like I offended you guys a little bit when I brought up the 2000 to 2010s.
Classic.
But I will say,
still want to go on that?
Me looking back at that, and I don't know if my dates match up, but I look at like a Civil War 2, look at a couple of these other things, and I'm like, Marvel's trying a bunch of different things. Over the decades, Marvel has tried a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Once the MCU came out,
maybe we're a little harder on Marvel.
The MCU gave Marvel a formula of how to make movies. The right amount of humor, the right amount of action, the right amount of CGI and all. There is a formula. They are good at making movies. I want to say, and maybe it's just because I'm in it now, but I think that they're kind of catching that with comics. Maybe they've had that fire. They've caught these sparks in the past. But I think right now where they are, they know how they have to build it for going forward. And they know how to be relevant with what they're doing now with 10 years down the road, whereas 10 years behind us, they're doing shit like Civil War 2. They're doing shit like, let's rehash this, let's try this, let's try that. So, I want to say maybe it's evolved and they're at a better place now, but then again, that's also me just saying that it's good now.
No, you got some valid points, and this might be a cop-out, but I feel like we've got enough material for even having like a part 2 discussion. But I think as far as the goal of introducing or getting that perspective of a new reader / collector, like hearing how you got introduced into deciding to collect comics, quote unquote, full time. I think we accomplished that mission, and I'm hoping that anyone listening that's been on the fence of like, well, I kind of want to get into comic books, but I'm kind of timid about it. Hopefully, they've gotten some information that might help sway them in one way or the other. Hopefully, they end up becoming comic book readers and collectors, because that would be awesome. But I wanted to have this conversation because I mean, there's only so much that me and Drew will really kind of open our minds, open our minds to, because me and him had a very similar comic book journey because we were doing it together. So to hear like a fresh new reader provide their perspective, I think is an important discussion, because there were some points that you made. I was like, oh, I've never thought of it like that. And man, you know what? Okay, that makes more sense because they are trying to target like a new wave of readers. So thank you for that. I want to go ahead and wrap up the show though with Champion Season, man. Champion Season, for you first time tuning in, is our last segment of the show. It is our opportunity to go around the table. Everyone shares one or two things that has really resonated with us this week, and we're thinking, yo, this is really dope. More people should check it out. So this could be a comic book, a movie, a TV series, a book, etc. It don't matter about the time frame. It matters about how awesome it was. Drew, I'm going to start out with you because you have been hype this whole week to come on the mics and champion Avengers.
Bro. Okay.
See.
So I would like to champion everything Avengers. Oh my God. I don't know what started it, but I know what started it. There's this tie-in series called Avengers No Surrender, right? And the writers that are on there is Al Ewing, Jim Zub, and Mark Waid. Now, these writers are very, very important because, these are the OGs, and then they have one, new guy who is Al Ewing, and Al Ewing is British, and you'll soon come to find out if they are British.
It's like an automatic win.
Yo, it's just like,
It's crazy
British,
how good
what do you want to do? British, this is it's called the Marvel British method. You get somebody British, you bring them over here, you give them some obscure what-the-fuck character, they make it dope, and then they're like, all right, sprinkle, then you give them a big character, then you give them an event, and then they go crazy and create something like The Watchmen. But where was I going? Oh, yeah, so Avengers No Surrender has always been this book that's I look at it, anywhere I go, I see it. I was it was one of those ones that was just yo, I need to read this, and I cannot get past the first 3 pages for whatever the hell. And at some point, I buckled down, I fucking went for it, and I read it, and I was texting Botter yo, this is everything that's this is amazing. I love how they're breaking down this character. This feels like a movie. The pacing's amazing.
Drew, I want to ask, in a sentence or two, can you give the premise so that way anyone listening understands what the story is about?
It's my God! It's all just a game.
Okay, cryptic answer.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing. It's hype. It's amazing. It's dope. I'm getting
Can someone just jump in? How about that? Can someone just jump
definitely.
in?
You just go in and just read it, and they do such a good job of catching up. This book is so beautifully constructed because in trade format, they give you everything. They did a bunch of extras. This at some point, this was releasing weekly. It was a weekly event. And it was done in 16 parts.
Yeah, which is a lot. God,
but here's the thing: Mark Waid has done that before when he wrote 52 back in the day. DC,
that's good.
He's done that. So when they brought
Good
up this
tidbit.
idea of doing a weekly, Mark Waid is ahead of it. And Mark Waid, you'll find, is one of these dudes that has a respect for all of the old stuff that came before him, but he's really good at making it lighthearted while also if you ever read his Daredevil stuff, you'll just be like, oh, yeah, this guy's definitely one of those innovators. But to go back, anyways, there's just a lot of stuff that's happening. And one thing that Botter knows about me is I like a writer that can take any amount of obscure characters and just make me care about them. Very much character driven. And with this book, Hercules is in it, Quicksilver is in it, Scarlet Witch is in it, Vision's in it, Hawkeye's in it. And it's very much this dope Avengers thing, and you're damn, I don't know if they're going to pull this out of their hat. I don't know what's going to happen. And, I mean, it's just a dope. Like this reminds me of if they're gonna make the next Marvel movie. You know how you're talking about they're gonna pull. I would be impressed if, like, I would just lose my shit if this is the next thing that they're going to borrow. Because to me, this is just so epic. This has all the elements of, like, everything you said. Like, when you were like, it's the right amount of funny, it's the right amount of this, I'm like, I'm reading this book thinking, like, yo, this is basically all that while still, like, bringing characters and making them their own right. Like, one character in mind that's basically, like, ingrained in the Marvel Universe is Hercules. And he feels, like, at the same level as Thor of hype and like world building. So this is like one of those books where like, so this is where it started, and since it's spawned to the Disney Plus app Avengers TV show. There's a cartoon that they came out that's like 4 seasons. It's called Marvel's Avengers and then Avengers Assemble. I would give this to anybody that's just like, I don't like to read, but I would like to learn about the Marvel Universe. I'm like, yo, this cartoon to me, I would put up there with Justice League Unlimited, like up there. Like this is definitely going to be a classic.
I was telling Drew, I didn't realize that I fell off like the family like cartoon watching like together Unity bandwagon until that show was airing weekly, like currently, and I would go visit my mom or stuff. And I mean, this is like when I first started living on my own, but I would go visit occasionally, and my dad and brothers would be on the couch watching it, so into it, but I just didn't have time to sit down, or I felt like, damn, they've moved on.
I'm telling you right now, like just from a fan's perspective,
it is loved.
Dude,
there is some serious fans of that cartoon.
So fucking hyped.
Yeah. Like
that's why I'm like, yo, Avengers. So this is how it started. I read No Surrender, and I try to like basically like trick Botter into reading it. Like I come over and I'm like, yeah, read this passage real quick with me. Read it out loud.
It's a comic book inside of another comic book.
Yeah, it's a comic book inside of another comic book. But then we watch Age of Ultron. So then like we watched shout outs to Age of Ultron being like the dopest rewatch in your house. Like Avengers Age of Ultron, it was after
better.
watching everything and seeing what they lead up, Avengers Ultron to me was just like really just like a dope like piece of history that happens.
It was dope, but it's also, you can easily say like, yo, this was just a bridge. Like knowing what you know, you're like, yeah, they really set everything up in this movie. So I mean, it's only important because it's a bridge to everything else. But I mean, it's a fun watch. It's a much more fun watch at home a second time than I think the first time.
After knowing what you know and seeing how things go, it's amazing. Also, that Hulkbuster fight.
Yeah. It's way more better than you remember. It's better than Iron Man Hulkbuster versus Hulk in Age of Ultron is infinitely better than you think. Right now, you're probably like, oh, that was a good fight. Nah,
no,
it's better,
bro. Or bro, like you
broa.
You need to go there and just like fucking like rewatch it, because I'm telling you right now, when you like, it was one of those things like me and Botter are very good at pausing a movie and basically like I call it the Zach Morris effect. So basically, you remember Zach Morris used to stop time just to talk to the viewer, like. Can we talk about that for a minute? I think he had the time stone the entire time. That should be the title. Zach Morris had the time stone. You guys remember Save the Bell, right?
Yeah.
Like, is this thing on?
Yes, we got that. Yeah, it just didn't hit. Hey,
you guys remember Save the Bell?
Save the Bell. Right. It's like, we'll just talk about it later.
All right, but anyways, so you're saying that No Surrender, you're on this giant Avengers kick. I mean, from reading comic, the catalyst was Avengers No Surrender, which everyone should probably check out if Drew sold you on it, and then that led you into watching like Avengers Age of Ultron, and now you're hooked on this damn Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon.
Yes, Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, and then to stay current with you, I'm reading Savage Avengers. Because of like, it's one of the things where I was like,
it's great.
And to go to your thing, like, I don't understand why they're going to call it Savage Avengers. There's no reason why to call it Savage Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Only for the fact that it's just like, all these guys are together. They're going to assemble.
Yeah.
So
they're in the Savage Land.
Yeah, but where's the Avengers part, I guess?
That is...
I thought it was Savage Avengers because Conan looks savage.
I thought...
That's what I thought. I ain't gonna lie.
But then you said Savage Land, and I'm like, yo, that is what
it does take place. The setting is very important.
I was like, fuck.
Wait a minute.
Damn, and now when I read the comic book, like, there's a map of the Savage Land. So maybe Savage Avengers just means actual Savage Avengers.
Yeah, you've been out of the game too long. That's just what it is.
So,
but no. That's a good champion, Drew.
I'm glad you're reading that though, because that's awesome,
Dude, the
That's
dopest
awesome.
part. Okay, spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't read this comic book that's been on for almost a fucking 6 months.
Hold on, you just got into it. Like you can't like
Yo,
call
but I'm
someone
caught
out.
up right now.
What the? All right,
The trade is out. The
Are you
trade
able?
is out.
Are you
It's
able
out.
to give a sentence or two about what that?
Hell
the
no! I'm
premise
going to
is?
talk to my boy Brian over here real quick offline about Champion Season. Can we talk about that Venom sword real quick? Just the Venom piece.
No one likes Inside the Combos.
I'm
No, go
sorry,
ahead,
okay.
answer that. I mean,
no, the dopest thing about that comic book was when Conan the Barbarian, spoiler alert, like just at some point he frees a Venom symbiote and he gets it, but it doesn't cover him because it's so weak it can only make a weapon.
oh,
That was
okay,
my
okay.
take
That's
from
cool.
it.
That's cool.
That was my take from it because like it was like, yo, this thing is about to die, and like its whole thing was like, yo, like I fuck with you, Conan the Barbarian, like.
Very interesting. Like one moment. to highlight.
Savage Avengers is all about like everybody's like, who is this guy? Oh, it's Conan. Hey, man, fuck that guy. Well, no, he's kind of cool. He kicks ass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna tell him in
Dude,
those
the
faces.
thing I remember Savage Avengers, just like a little tidbit, is like because Reddit is just very much. Are you on Reddit, Brian?
I am on Reddit.
I recommend the comic book subreddit a lot.
I'm on Marvel.
Oh, good. Just
Subreddit.
Oh, so you're
that's a good one.
biased. Cool.
Yeah, definitely
yeah,
biased.
whatever. Yeah,
But
if you want to be a little
actually,
bit more
honestly,
progressive.
honestly, I do recommend the comic book subreddit because it touches a bunch of all across all companies. And there's been plenty of times that they've motivated me to check out a book because the fans will post just random panels and I'm like, oh, that's kind of dope. Like, what book is this? So I do recommend subreddit comic books.
I'll check that.
You'll
out.
you'll get exposed to a lot more quickly.
Yeah, I'll check that out. But going back to
internet-
Savage Avengers, man. If anybody out there is like somewhat on the fringe, let me just throw it out at you. Like Conan the Barbarian, and in the first 2, maybe 3 issues, Wolverine and Conan the Barbarian pretty much meeting as them enemies, saying like, fuck you, I hate you, wait a minute, we're bros. All right. And then
Dude, he's doing such. I need a real okay. Go ahead.
another person in Savage Avengers, right? Savage
bros.
as fuck. Punisher's in Savage Avengers. You like savage people? Elektra is in Savage Avengers. You like people who are just like fucking kind of like a weird character you didn't really expect? Goddamn Doctor Doom is in Savage Avengers.
Damn. Yeah.
So if
This
at
is the
all,
most savage lineup ever. Yeah.
it's insane. It's
21,
insane.
21.
Dr. Doom is also somebody who it's like, oh, if he's going to be brought into the MCU, I got to learn a little bit more about him.
Ooh, yo, the
right
current
here. Oh.
the current comic series is pretty good, man.
It's really good. I'm reading that too.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, D, that was a good champion. I'm gonna move on to Brian. Brian, what's something that you want to champion?
All right, so I'll admit I don't know what this saga of the show is, The Champions.
Oh, it's just like pick something, a comic book, a movie, a TV series, etc. that you just want to hype
All right.
and sell.
So I'll hype the new Thor coming out. I'll hype Donny Cates. I'll hype everything about that. Some super deep shit that I was thinking about the other day. I was like, why is Thor so popular in America?
I'll tell you why.
I
feel like if you hear Brian's excuse, you'll probably be like, never mind. Like, I'm waiting for him.
Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
So all right, so Thor's
I was going to say
Thor
2
is
words.
super
LeBron
popular.
James.
Oh, that's a throwback.
no man.
Cut.
Actually, it just goes into like, man, what America is what made up of mostly like Anglo-Saxon people, like white people. Thor's literally the god, their god before Christianity came through. So if you guys are ever wondering, like, Thor is an actual god to a lot of Anglo-Saxon white people that they don't really know about. There's a hidden level in there of connection that people don't get.
I feel like you got one of them crazy boys at home.
for
Like,
real.
this
No,
is
no, I'm
funny.
saying-
no. Like,
if you guys have ever seen,
it's plausible, definitely.
What's the Neil Gaiman thing? American Gods.
Yeah.
And Anansi in the show, like it's like an African god, man. Like man, people just flock to that, and people love that. They kicked Orlando Jones off the show, but people flock to that. Anyways, I'm just saying there is a connection for Thor in America, and so I'm going to hype the new Thor.
Fair.
And everything leading up to it was the end of Jason Aaron's run.
Yep.
It was like this.
May it rest in peace, King Thor.
Yeah, and I almost feel kind of, I don't have no right to talk about this.
Yeah, and you read King Thor, so it was just
But I
like,
read
oh,
King
that was a
Thor. It
nice
was like
play.
it's like I jumped in and
He
read.
basically took his finger and basically like wiped the icing from the can. Who the fuck took a bite? It's
I
like-
said, "There's an entire MCU. I'll just watch Endgame."
Sure.
But that was me and King Thor. King Thor was amazing.
Damn, that is true.
hold on.
Damn, you're making it really good with the references. this.
Man, hold up, man. Come on.
I don't know.
Let Brian finish.
Basketball reference.
Because I'm like, yo, pass the rock real quick. He's saying some things. Oh, come on, Drew. What are you doing, dude?
What's in
Jesus
this whiskey?
Christ. All right, yo.
Anyway, all right, let me get back to Thor. So I'm hyping it up because with everything that's going on, and especially with what I'm reading with the Silver Surfer Black, with Annihilation Scourge, everything is overlapping. Silver Surfer in Annihilation Scourge was the Silver Surfer Black. Silver Surfer in the new Thor is the Silver Surfer Black. So everything in Thor is like a culmination of everything that's been going on that I'm into. This is the new wave, the future of what's coming, and it's what I'm interested in. So when the new Thor came out the other day, I held on to it for a couple of days because I thought it was going to be really, really cool, and I had a couple other things I wanted to read. When I finally read it and I finished it, you guys finished it too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The end of it. Were you not hype as shit?
It leads into my champion. It leads into my champion. And if you don't mind, like, do you mind if I chime in with my champion?
Yo,
like,
take
are you got a good
King
take
Thor
on
or
over,
L.
brother?
Okay. Look,
Cheers to Thor.
Look, yo, extra cheers to Thor.
Yo,
You
Valhalla,
Anglo-Saxon,
bro.
you Anglo-Saxon
I don't even know how to
god.
spell that. Is it 2 words or one?
So, my champion for today is King Thor, and this is a 4-part series written by
Watch the Throne Part 2.
written by Jason Aaron and art by Esad Ribic.
Yo, listen. I don't think you said. Can you do that one more time? I don't think you really. I don't think I heard you.
That's a
Hold
reverb.
Hold up.
So it's a 4-part miniseries that miniseries that came out like I believe like a tail end of December. Written by Jason Aaron, Esad Ribic, and literally this has been 7 years like in the making, like because Jason Aaron, Esad Ribic introduced this Thor story that started this Jason Aaron Thor kind of comic book writing whole legacy 7 years ago, and it was like I remember when we talked about it on the show. It was like one of our first
very emotional moment when you really think about
like one of our first 10 episodes or whatever it may be. So to read this, knowing that I hadn't kept up with Jason Aaron's whole Thor like anthology series, like there was at some point I stopped. I think I stopped a little bit after like he introduced Jane Foster as Thor.
I remember, saying you're saying that, and I distinctly remember that conversation for another time. But like that was one of the things where like, yo, Marvel OG was like, I don't really want to read this anymore because of the way Jane Austen was making the Hammer sing.
Oh yeah.
So that's when I remember, like, oh okay, like that was like I remember that was like the
Jane
time
Austen, also known as Stone Cold Steve Cold, Stone Cold's wife.
Yeah. Oh, damn, that's going. But
Sorry,
he meant Jane Foster. But like, so for me to just pick up King Thor, and it was mainly because of you. I think you like really hyped it up at one point. I was talking to you, and you were like, "Yo, King Thor," and I was like, oh man, I guess I'll give that a shot. I mean, I really liked King Thor from the original Jason Aaron run, which is kind of hard for me to like hearing you talk about like reading old stuff. Even like your sense of old stuff is like mid 2000s, which is funny.
Yo, that is so.
Yeah, it's not even mid 2000s, like mid 2010s, whatever it may be, late 2000s.
Back in the day.
Anyways, so I want to tell you like, yo, you really got to read like that first Thor story that Jason Aaron and Esad Ribic did, because this King Thor stuff was set up like 7 years ago. So it's so cool to see this payoff. And I will admit, a new reader could read King Thor and like get caught up because they do a pretty good job of like making a self-contained story. But I even told Drew, like, reading what I did of Jason Aaron's run, which might be whatever 35-40%, like I still felt like I got a good payoff, but a part of me was like, nah, there's a bigger payoff here, and I would need to read all of that Jason Aaron like history, because the first person I hit up after reading it and having my mind blown was Whoa. I was like, whoa, how good is King Thor? He's like, it was so good. And I was like, yeah, I had some questions like, yo, at what point did Loki get the black weapon and some other questions? He was like, oh, that was all explained in like Jason Aaron's Thor. And I'm like, damn, I bet you he did, because he was on it so long. But I say that to say all of this, like, it is a beautiful send off and an end cap to like this very long tenure that Jason Aaron has had on Thor, which has been one of the most respected comic book series to date. Like, there's it has gotten so many rewards and like outstanding praise, as much as it got like criticism when it first came out and introducing Jane Foster as Thor. Like, it got so much criticism for the way they were transitioning, this female Thor. Like, I remember all of that. I remember talking about it on this show. So to read like the end, like, man, after all this time, like just come full circle, and like that message that Jason Aaron had at the end of that story, like it was like, man, like it just made me like Thor so much more. And to your point about like kind of like mythology aspect, I felt like I was reading like a modern mythology like take on Thor. Like it wasn't too far fetched from like mythology that you read in high school. It was like very epic. Like
you love or the Odyssey.
Yeah, I love the Odyssey. Like,
and that's what it felt like. It felt like a damn journey because here's the thing: Thor lost his way home. At some point, became unworthy, got the hammer back, and ended up like raising his family.
And that's what I'm saying is you could definitely read this King Thor series on its own if you just wanted some badass like Norse mythology, like
Shakespearean,
like Dragon Ball. Like
you were
like
talking
Dragon Ball
about
Z at
you were
times.
talking about payoff and source material.
Yeah.
And I had recently read, or actually listened to it on Audible, but Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology.
Oh yeah.
And it was amazing. It was eye opening, and honestly, I felt like King Thor was somewhat of a payoff to that. So you don't have to just read the Marvel comics for Thor. Thor is bigger than that. So when you're reading King Thor, it's
pretty cool.
It's a culmination of all.
That
Thor
is really
stories.
interesting.
That's the one thing that I was gonna like say. Like I that's what I loved about that whole end send off where they're in the library of Thor's, and he's basically like this could be at any point. So I was like, yo, he just saved the foundation for any writer that comes now and does whatever his spin is. It's just going to be in that library.
Yeah.
If a writer's smart enough.
Yeah.
If a writer's smart enough, like that, like if I were going to write Thor, I would start like a book in that library where they pick it up and like this is the Thor you're going to read.
It just felt like so epic, and even though like I always say like the big two, like there isn't really stakes to be had because these characters will live on longer than I will probably.
And it's
But-
Thor and Loki again.
Yeah. But it felt like Marvel did a good job of convincing me for a moment there was like some like this could be the last Thor story, and it felt like
For sure.
like it felt that way too, even though it and the way it did. It just something about it was epic. It was like damn, like I was proud. Like I was like I wanted to like in a way I mentally applauded like yo Jason Aaron like yo congratulations on like
when,
this finish
like
line.
LeBron James wins like a ring, like when your team. Here's the thing,
you
I'm
watch
a
this-
Jaguar
yeah.
fan. We're all Jaguar fans. The Super Bowl don't feel really good right now, but like to have a W, you're like, damn, this felt pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's a
It'd
good
be
point.
like knowing Tom Brady is going to retire this year, and then he goes out with a Super Bowl. You'd be like, okay, that.
I
that's
got
a good
respect.
Oh, is he
Respect.
supposed to retire this year?
I don't know. And I don't want to give no spoilers, but the end of Thor, like the real end of it, not the library part of it, but where it was like he's talking to what is it, Gore? Is that his?
Yeah, Gore.
Yeah. He's talking to him. He's like, you thought Thor was this, and you thought Thor was that. He's like,
Ooh.
but it really and it takes damn near 2 to 3 pages for him to get through this.
Yeah.
Thor is Thor.
Yo. Yeah.
And
I love.
I
like,
can't even. I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but like the end of it, you're gonna get chills.
Yo,
You're gonna
oh
be
my
like,
God!
you're
stop,
damn right.
man. Yo,
He's
stop. Look, the end of that when he says like, I don't even want to mention the punchline because it's just that important to the story in my opinion. But like when he's talking about like the purpose of Thor and like the purpose of thunder, like,
Ooh, that was so good.
ooh, Jason Aaron just knows how to write in a very
has a way with
like,
words. He
like
does.
in a very impactful way. Like he just like manages to get you like just kind of hit you and like just your heart. You're like, yeah, man. Like
It's a build up, and he could
Yeah.
definitely take a left turn or a right turn. And a lot of writers think I should take a left turn and a right. I should surprise my readers. But a lot of good writers know pay the fuck off, and they're gonna love you for it.
Damn,
Pay
well
it off,
said.
man.
Well said. So I feel like we got some solid champion seasons. Some solid champions today. This might be one of our definitely our longest episode of the new year of the 3 episodes we
Good
recorded.
thing it's free. You don't have to pay for shit. You
Well,
can pause
all right,
it,
well-
leave it,
well,
know that
well,
it's
in all
free
honesty-
99.
In all honesty, this episode is like 2 weeks old for our Shortbox patrons. I mean, if you're listening to this as a general, not a Shortbox patron, then this is 2 weeks old. But to your point, Drew, this is the type of quality that we give as far as like bonus episodes. Because this started out as a bonus episode, so this is the type of quality of episodes that we give for our patrons who contribute to the show and support us. So consider becoming a patron, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
We'll call this the exclusive variant.
Yeah, patreon.com/theshortbox.
If you guys ever want to invite me back, I promise I'll make it a $4.99 issue and not a $3.99
check this out. Check this
issue.
out. All right, I guess I can ask you on air because I tell everyone that I've told a lot of people that listen.
How many
That-
people you told?
A lot of people that listen.
Damn, it's 21 Savage.
Oh my bad. Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
How many
But
people you
anyways,
said? A lot.
did I not tell you that you'll come on when we're sitting down and we're getting like ready to press record? You'll be jittery. and you'll be really nervous in the beginning and introducing yourself. But by the time you're done, and I've seen this happen so much, by the time we're done, a new guest, a first-time guest, will always hit me with the at least 99.9%. Yo, if you ever need anyone to like fill in or like come through, let me know. Like, yo, podcasting is just fun, and I'm glad that you got to experience this today and like share your comic book journey. Like, I'm really proud. I'm really happy, and I feel like you're using like common sense that I don't think me and Drew used, and I'm still trying to decipher if it's
you definitely
like
taught me some shit.
yeah, right. I'm trying to decipher if it's just like your personality or if the industry was different. I think from this conversation, listening back, I'll find that answer. But regardless, we appreciate you coming on, Brian.
Yeah.
You got any closing remarks? Anything you want to wrap up with and say?
Nah, man. Just read new material. Read new material. Don't wait 10 years because then it's old material.
All right. Drew, what about you? You got any closing remarks?
How are you supposed to follow like that? No, just like, yo, I appreciate you for having me on the show.
Yeah, like as if you're a guest.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, no, thank you. Was I supposed to say that? Thank you.
No.
Oh, you
Like,
thought that was shade? No.
At any time, Bada can cut the mic off and it can just be like, yo, nobody's listening except for me. Like, but no, it's just like, yo, I hope everything's okay. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, word. Well, I'll go ahead and say, if you've managed to get to this last part of the show, which, I mean, I don't blame you. What if we just went buck wild and just said some wild shit? And it's like, no one will ever listen.
Shit.
But if you manage to
Why
get...
are you printing this?
If you manage to get to this part of the show, I'll once again say, man, if you like what you heard and you want more bonus content, exclusive interviews, bonus merch, consider becoming a patron. Not only does it help keep the lights on, help us maintain this show, but it also, it motivates us, man. So consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/theshortbox. And don't let this be your last episode, man. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following us on social media. Keep up to date. We try to keep up with our weekly schedule. But regardless, we appreciate you for listening, and hopefully you'll come back, all right?
Yo, what happened to peace? Peace.